Hello, everyone. Welcome to And That's Why We Drink. I figure we could let you in on the conversation
If you have any suggestions for our future setup,
for how
let
to
us know.
align our heads,
Yeah.
how to make them more size equitable size-wise.
I'm actually just trying to give you a moment to feel like you have the smaller head between the two of us. So I'm just
Thank you. My daughter has a 99th percentile still to this day, from the day she was born and onward. So
just got a noggin.
I need all the confidence I can get.
This is what I offer you. I will let the crowd think that my head is
that mine's dainty and delicate.
You're so frail, so meek. Welcome to That's Why We Drink, where we tell you reasons why we drink and then reasons why everyone should drink.
Yes, yeah. Why don't we ever start? What is that? Episode 439. That's like the best summation of our show ever.
Oh, hey, great! I'm glad we got there. So
finally,
reasons why we drink in our personal life. Christine, do you have anything, or is life just perfect over there?
Well, as usual, nothing's wrong and everything's great. Someone made the fair comment online that I made it an unfair statement that I hadn't been this stressed since since prepping for our live tour. That was not true in the sense of I'm not more stressed about our tour than I was about the state of the world. I was not trying to make that comparison.
No,
I just want to be clear because somebody commented, "Be for real," and I was like, "I'm sorry, I really wasn't trying to imply that." My only implication is my body's once again going into like full on
chaos mode,
insanity chaos because of what was then our tour, what is now even worse, so much worse, the world. So I've got this Angry Orchard because it's our new favorite drink. We get to record some fun like stuff with them, and I forgot how much I love this shit. And so I've just got like this Angry Orchard, and I'm gonna open it with my unicorn bottle opener that I bought with the first ever sponsor money we got from ModCloth.
Whoa!
Back in the day, and I remember being like, I need this for my desk, this unicorn bottle opener, and I'm still using it. And I drink because the ghost is back.
Tell me everything.
Obviously, I drink because of the world, but I don't want to, go there.
We're all drinking for that.
Right. Like, so this is more of just like now a micro situation versus a macro, but can
we where'd we leave off?
A recap. Okay, so when we left off previously on, Blaise's window opened, and today I interrogated him again because he brought it up again. It opened twice, and I asked him many questions about it because I was like, I need to know the details. He said it's the window in his bathroom in the back office, the one that we moved in and said, nope, that's a bad room.
Since day one, they've been saying that.
Since day one. And I was like, that's your office, Blaise.
You really did say that.
I did.
And now that's where they store like gym equipment, basically. But like, can confirm, I've been in that room. There is something off about it.
It just feels weird. And it's like, sure, Blaise always said, oh, it's just because it's like darker in there. And it's like, yeah, I guess. But there's something off about it. Something's weird in there, and it also has so many crawl spaces like in there in the little closets. And I went in there recently to just look around. It wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. And I wore those knee pads I bought you ages ago that were just casually in my office, and I was like, why did I buy knee pads? And then I remembered that on a past episode you had said, if you buy me knee pads, I'll climb into the crawl space. And I did. and then like 2 years later I was like, why do I have adult men's knee
I still stand
pads?
By that, by the way.
I have them. They work great.
Never occurred to I've totally forgot why you got me knee pads.
I did too.
Okay.
I got you a lot of things. I feel like my house is just full of random items I've meant to send you or like purchase on your behalf. But so Blaise said that window opens, and then Leona wanted to go up there and look for the ghost. So we kind of jokingly, I filmed it. I haven't posted it yet, but we walked up there, and she was like, "Ghost, where are you?" And then she said, "I think his name's Boo Boo." And I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Please.
So that was the last update. Then there was a moment where I was doing laundry, and I swear to God, I don't know if I've talked about this yet. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this woman's dress, and I went, oh, a lady. And then I went, wait.
Girl.
You know when your brain goes like, oh, I see something, hang on, and it like catches you? And then all of a sudden it was like nobody was there. So I was like, maybe I'm imagining things. I mean, I was doing laundry. It was like 2 in the
Yeah,
morning.
maybe you saw like your own sheet by your
Right?
ankles
Like
or
I'm like,
something.
maybe. So I just kind of brushed that aside, and but I got really like that was one where I was like every hair was standing up on
Yeah,
end, and
it's
I had to pause
mine
my
are.
music. Yeah, it really, really like got me for some reason. And then today, this morning, I was on a Zoom call with my therapist, and well, no, sorry, last night Juniper's laying down, and I just see him kind of look up, and he's looking out the doorway, of course, like where that room is, and he kind of like his hackles start to go up a little, and usually
Mm.
that means like moonshine's on the way, and I'm like, oh god, because moonshine's gonna come like attack him and whatever. But then I see him like staring, and then he goes like this.
Oh fuck.
And he looks like up like many feet, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then he looks down and up, and I'm like, he's looking at something. So I'm
Mm.
thinking maybe it's a fly like buzzing around. And then he follows it, and when you see like pets' eyes move, and so then Geo looks up, and they both follow something, and I'm like, it has to be a fly. And
Please
I'm like
God be a
looking
fly.
around, and there is not a single fucking bug. They watch this thing like at the exact same height. It's not like moving around. It's like the same height. They watch it all the way go to the fireplace. They stared at it for a while. And then both of them seemed to like lose the trance and just go back to sleep. And I was like, who's here? And it was that same spot where I did that laundry too. So I don't know. Maybe there's something like in that. And that one psychic medium I talked to, Moonlight Medium, said that somebody walks back and forth up here. So I'm like, maybe it's just like
I'm telling you
that.
that thing that spun around when I was up there.
Oh yeah.
To this
And
day,
then the windows are opening. It's just like, what is going on up here?
to this day, that was one of the freakiest.
Oh, and last night I forgot. I was putting stuff away. Like little things keep happening that I forget to write down, and then but I was in the middle room where years ago when I think Leona was an infant, like really tiny, and I was like I was doing some work on my laptop, and I just heard "Daddy," and
Mhm.
Geo like jumped up, and nobody was home. That room, which I know there's something going on there, that room, I was just like putting stuff down, and all of a sudden the lights just turned off, and I was like, what the fuck? And I like turned around and the light switch was just off. And I was like, the light
Shut
switch,
the hell up.
I'd been moving stuff in there, and I'm like, how, like there, it was just
Horrifying.
so mind fucking because I'm like, I walked in, set down this basket, and all of a sudden the lights went off. And it took me a minute to go, how, like, there's one light switch, it's right there. And then I had to go back and click it back on. And I was like, and it was nighttime. So when the lights went off, I was like in the dark. And I was like, what just happened?
Christine.
So I don't know if it's a prankster or a demon. It's not a demon. I think I would know if it were a demon. I think I would have worse vibes in the house if it were like really bad.
Something, I wouldn't say it's unfriendly, but something, let's say, neutral is in Blaise's office.
Yeah, like chaotic neutral, like kind of like causing some problems, but not necessarily
Like,
intentionally.
it feels always a little on edge for some reason.
Yeah.
Everything else in the house seems, I think you're right, like it's not dark, but I don't like that it's getting comfortable.
That's a good point. And I did ask Blaise today outright. I said, what do you think it was with the window specifically? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, what do you think? And like, what do you think? And he said, I think it was either somehow the cats figured out how to open a really heavy window, which let's be clear, they did not. And he says, or it was an entity. And I went, an entity?
I'm sorry, when the non-believer says, or it was an entity.
When Blaise says entity, I'm like, we're out. We're out. This is too far now. I'm no longer on board. But yeah, we haven't had any more Leona sightings, so I don't know if that was just like a one and done, but
That's disgusting.
Anyway, I have my Angry Orchard here because I need it.
Well,
and honestly, any spirits here, you are more than welcome to partake if you're interested.
that would be crazy if actually you just heard slurping.
If my Angry Orchard disappeared, I'm gonna get really pissed off.
Wow. I don't.
Why do you drink? I'm sorry. I'm like,
I don't know anymore.
blabbing away over here.
You win. Why do I drink?
Yes.
Well, sidebar question at least. I got Hank a new little dog tag. Did you see it online?
Oh no, I didn't.
It looks like a Ouija planchette.
What?
And it says summon my owner on it, which I think is precious. 2 different people have come up to me though and been like, "Are you sure that's not like inviting darkness
Oh
in?"
my
And I was like,
gosh.
"Is that Christianity speaking or should I actually be worried?" Like I don't
Wait, 2 people in public came up to you and said
2
that?
different people. One person was at the dog park and one person
But not on social media,
no, no,
like
no. But
oh my god, what?
but
People are just saying no, that they're full of it. They
okay,
don't understand.
I was getting paranoid. I was like, the fact that 2 people said it in the same
No, this
week
is
freaked
it's
me
not
out.
a Ouija board. You're just doing something in the shape of a I mean, it's like I have Ouija board earring like planchette earrings. I'm not like,
I know. That's
"Come to me,"
I
and
got
if I am, then
no, that would explain a
everyone
lot.
knows it. Yeah, that would explain a lot.
No, I didn't think I was but the fact that 2 different people who like
Actually, Gio and Junie have Ouija board. Somebody made them.
oh,
I'm trying to remember who that was. It was ages ago. Maybe Noelle. I'm trying to remember, but made like little planchette, and I still have the keychain. I have them as keychains on my keys, but I want to see
precious.
the one. Send me the one you have for Hank. I want to see. Summon my owner is so good.
Here, I'll send it to you right now. A
That's so
lot of
clever.
a lot of people were wondering where I got it. So, let me go.
Was it Etsy?
Of course it
Feels
was
like
Etsy. Let me go shout out the person.
Summon my owner. I can't.
So the creator is called NaughtyEngravers. Love that.
NaughtyEngravers.
And then here is the link so you can see what it looked like. Isn't that a cutie pie?
Let me open it. Sorry, Khloe Kardashian just like broke my phone. It like appeared and she's like, "Here's my protein popcorn." I'm like, "I don't even follow
What?
you on Instagram." I don't know, and then my whole phone shut down. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
I think so.
Summon my owner. Are you kidding me?
And it's like it looks like it's hand hammered into a Ouija shape.
Yeah, it's almost like that metal, like that hammered metal. Wow, that is cute as hell.
And I think you can get it in different colors. So,
Oh, that's cute.
anyway, shout out
Naughty Engravers.
Naughty Engravers is about to have a really long week.
I am loving that for them.
Anyway, why do I drink? Well, by the time this episode comes out, I think, she'll know that. So I'm surprising Allison on the East Coast, but that requires me packing for 3 weeks because it's added.
Oh my word.
It's like I'm doing like 3 different trips all back to back.
You two are out of your minds. Why are you doing that? You're gonna kill yourself.
Well, the reason I drink is because it's the longest that either of us will be away from Hank, but he's gonna be a big boy, figure it out. But
He's gonna figure it out. Like give him a bindle.
he is gonna
figure. You're on your own now. Good. What is that? What is that book? Runaway Bunny.
What's the?
Good luck.
I'm thinking of
out
that
there.
like Western.
You'll see me in the clouds.
That Western song. Oh
Oh yes. Off through the desert.
So he's gonna figure it out. He has someone coming to stay with him for all 3 weeks. So hopefully he's on his best behavior. But the real reason I drink is because I've been testing how long I can leave him home alone. And he has been destructive. And it's horrible because he's not like that when I'm around. So he's only around when he only does it when I can't correct it. And so 3 days in a row, I've left for like 2 or 3 hours. I've come back and something's been destroyed. And it's always something important and always special. And like I'm hiding them, so I don't know how he's getting them.
LOL. Maybe he knows that they're important to you. Maybe you should pretend to hide other things, like
I know.
dog toys.
Well, now like my Pokemon cards and everything are like hidden, like things that are of like valuable also. I'm like I don't even want to risk it.
I heard he chewed up my signature.
He did. I don't know if we were allowed to talk about that, but
oh well, it's just like we signed books for our second book, and we have these stickers we put in like to sign them. And apparently I mailed a bunch to Evan and was like, so someone got a hold of those book plates, but only a few.
And they were
everywhere.
They were rubber banded together, and so when I first saw some of them ripped up, I was like, he just took a big chunk
and
out
I'll
of
be
these.
honest, as the one who rubber banded them, they were rubber banded tentatively at best. Like they were like loosely sort of blah in a piece of rubber band. Like it was not.
Well, by the way, those rubber bands were gone. I think he ate them.
Excellent. Okay, I'll do dog safe rubber bands next time.
Anyway, he's been destructive, and it's like come at the worst time because now someone's about to stay with him, and like she's gonna bring like her own stuff, and I'm gonna have to be like hide everything all day long. Sorry.
Sorry.
I mean, if she's here, it'll be fine. But if she leaves, it's like you have to like, it's almost as if you're packing up to leave every time you go somewhere.
I wonder why that is though. Like, because didn't you used to say it would be 5 hours before he would
Yeah,
get
and it's
crazy?
getting like shorter.
Oh shoot.
Because last time, on day 1, I went out for an hour longer than I usually leave him alone to see if he's gotten more
Right.
comfortable at home. Everything was destroyed. So it's like, oh shit, like maybe I just need to do like, I'll do 4 hours next time to be safe because that's an hour less than he is usually good.
Is he crate trained or no?
No, I really should have
Oh.
crate trained him. We were trying to do the whole like, so he could feel like he's got space to walk around and stuff. And when we first got him, he wasn't like this, like, especially after like, so I don't know what's happening. I think he's just getting comfortable and now he's like, well, now I can fuck everything up.
Like my ghost. Be careful.
I
Might
know.
be a ghost blaming Hank for all of this nonsense.
Anyway, that's where we are on our dog journey right
You should
now.
get like a nanny cam. Oh wait, you have one, don't you?
I have one, but it doesn't record anything. It's just it's live if I click into it. And also like
Oh, you gotta, yeah.
and the person who's going to be staying here, I don't want to like,
No.
you
Yeah,
know?
you don't really want a camera on, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I don't know what the right thing to do is, but I would like to be able to watch him. So anyway, if you're a dog trainer, let me know why he's being destructive. And if you are a witch, let me know that his little dog tag is not a problem. Other than that, I guess that's the main reason why I drink is like, I'm actually like very sad that I'm about to leave him and I'm feeling like I'm abandoning him and I'm sure he'll have an adverse reaction at first to it. But I won't be around to see it. So I'm just feel guilty for leaving him, but whatever. Time to grow up.
At least you get to go. Time to grow up. Sorry, push you out of the nest, Hank.
Not to be my
Sheesh.
dad, but put your big boy pants on. No.
Oh my god. What did you say that one time when he stepped on the grill? You literally said, rub some dirt in it. You're becoming a boomer man. Do you realize this? Like that's like what happened to gentle parenting?
I can only gentle parent so far, and then if he's gonna keep messing up, then it's like, well, I told you. So
I see. Okay.
if I say, don't eat that, and then you eat it, what am I gonna do? Told you not
What
to.
are you gonna do? I don't know.
I'm gonna
Just
clean up his
cry?
vomit later.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
No, he'll be fine, and he's very good with whenever people have stayed with him before. I just feel bad about how long it is, and I really don't want to pack
hard.
either. Like that, it's just a bunch of like ugh kind of feelings all put together. But that's why I drink.
Hey, your girlfriend's on the other side, so that's good.
She is, and it'll be like neither of us have a dog, or she's not gonna have a baby for a second. Like we'll just
Oh my god.
it'll just be us again.
It's like what Blaise and I did today. It's Wednesday. Leona is in preschool all day, and my mom's picking her up, and we were like, let's go get Thai downtown. And we went downtown and went to the restaurant we used to go to like 10 years ago when we were dating.
When you were teenagers and in love.
When we were teenagers. Not really. We were probably 23, but yeah, sort of teenagers. But yeah, so it was like kind of cool. It was like, ooh, what do? We have like an empty nest for a minute.
Yeah. How'd it feel?
Oh, it was excellent. And then he was like, do you want a beer? And I was like, oh, thank you for asking. I'll just drink an Angry Orchard with M later. So,
well,
I got my Vietnamese iced coffee. That shit is good. I'm buzzing.
Well, I'm glad you got your little date night. I'm very happy for
Thank you. My therapist was thrilled. I was like,
good.
she's like, you need to rest. And I was like, no. And she was like, maybe you do. And then I was like, well, I'm going to lunch with Blaise. And she was like, that seems nice. Do that and put your phone away. And I said, okay.
My therapist has been encouraging my solo trips to Universal.
Oh yeah, cool.
It's been very nice. I've gone like already like 4 times, so I've already made back the money that I spent on the season pass, which is nice.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, I'm doing that just for myself.
I love a date, like a day date with yourself.
Well, I can't imagine having like a baby and 3 animals and like finally getting to be alone like with your husband. That's like got to be very lovely. Like
it is pretty lovely.
I'm saying for me that like it's already wonderful. I can't imagine like the ecstasy you're feeling.
We gotta catch up. We have so much to chat about.
Yes.
It's like,
who are
Jesus,
you
we've
anymore?
Missed, I'm like, I don't even remember. What are you watching on TV?
What's your name
we've,
again?
Like ships in the night. Yeah, I forget. I have become a little jaded about some skincare products because over the years I've been, I've tried so many different things and I've felt like, okay, I'm sure they all kind of work in the same way. I feel differently though about OneSkin, our sponsor. And I say this having used it for months now because OneSkin Okay, listen. One Skin's proprietary OS, I'm going to say it like I know, but I'm reading it. OS01 peptide is the first ingredient proven to switch off the damaged senescent cells that cause lines, wrinkles, and thin, crepey skin. It's like scientifically proven, and it's led by all women.
And look at Christine's face. Glowing.
And look at my face.
Glowing. The cleanser and topical supplements can all be used with other products or treatments also, and they fit easily into your current skincare routine. So if you're thinking about kind of switching lanes into a new skincare routine, you can start with this and kind of, you know.
They've got over 6,300 5-star reviews. Well, 6,301 5-star reviews. They've got a full line. It's really, really awesome. It's multi-purpose. And they have like little refillable. Anyway, I could go on. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspect of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer.
For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using code DRINK at oneskin.co. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. So say us.
Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Give your skin the scientifically proven gentle care it deserves with OneSkin.
Now for the reason why we should all drink. I've got an urban legend for you.
I knew it.
Did you?
I've been working on my psychic abilities, and I was like,
Oh.
Em's bringing an urban legend.
All right, Psychic, what's the topic?
Swamp monster.
Yes. No. So this is
Dragon.
you get 3 more guesses. I'd like to see what your top 5 happens.
Okay, let me channel my guides. They're not helping me.
They just blurted it out. Gut feeling. Blah.
Goats.
Nah.
Horse.
No.
Salmon.
No, although I have been thinking all day about how I need to take the salmon out of my fridge. So maybe
Yeah, that's you interfered with my.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to channel over here. Stop interfering with your dinner plans and your air wand fucking smoothie or whatever the fuck.
It was from Erewhon.
I know it's from Erewhon.
It was all of the same
$85
trip.
salmon.
It was all
Oh
the
my
same
God.
trip.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
You're crazy.
this is actually
Allison's gonna have that like one-on-one finally moment with her partner, and it's gonna be like that literal question you just said. Who are you?
I know.
It's like a dog dad, and an Erewhon shopper, and
Allison knows who I am. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. She's got it. She's like she's known.
There
for
have been a
long
few
time.
times where I've been like really depressed, like having like a day, and Allison's like, get in the car, and then we go to Erewhon and have a smoothie.
Here we go.
It really
You
has
need an FLT.
It really has become like, what? Bitch, was that a spider or what?
No, something just like pushed my drink on top of me.
You're lying.
I mean, it was on like a not steady surface. But I also didn't touch it. I don't know. It must have just slid off my table. I don't know.
Well, we should play that back.
I didn't bump it, but
We'll definitely play that back. If
all of a sudden I was all wet and I was like, what is that?
I don't.
It just slid right toward me.
I gotta say,
I mean, I'm assuming that was my fault. Most spills, I don't blame on the ghost. I know better.
I would. I mean, it could have been. Who knows?
No one would believe me, you know, because they'd be like,
I
we
would. I'm right
know-
here.
Thank you. Thank you.
My hair, by the way, is doing a crazy situation, everybody. So, if you see my hair looking crazy, let me know in the comments. It will be too late, but I mean, there's nothing we can do here.
I'm going to use this as my towel to clean up.
Oh, our sweatshirt. That's great. Okay. Use it. That's right. The schmata of the century. Okay. Oh, wow. You're really going for it.
Now we need another one because it's empty.
Hey, I think we've been on a few
It's
tours. Why
actually
don't you
on
use
my
that
shirt.
sweatshirt?
Oh, yeah, I should just... I also have to change. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
Please stand by. We have to step away and go.
What to say? I'm distracted. Oh, now you're wearing
Okay,
clothes.
so I did accidentally have to put took the shirt off while I was wearing headphones, so it is attached to the cord. Then I put the shirt on while I was wearing headphones, so they're both now attached to the cord on the inside. So we're just gonna have to deal with it.
It's like you've got a little, like a
Clothesline.
sure. You are laundry. I was gonna say, it's like you have like a
Dirty
little,
laundry.
chamois, a little chamois on a carabiner or something.
Oh my god, like a little ShamWow.
Ugh. Sham wow.
Ugh. Bring back 90s infomercial products.
The kids just don't know anymore.
Ugh. I bet you that ShamWow commercial is still running and it's still the exact same one.
It's the exact same, man. Wow, he pissed me off every time. Wow, he pissed me off every time.
I'm so sorry. Wow, he pissed me off. Jack, I'm really sorry. I hope that I'm wearing boxers,
You're fine.
but they're still
I
underwear.
literally am half the time never wearing pants on this show.
Unfortunately, it's not that exciting. It probably would have been if you had a camera on me throwing my shirt over my headphones and into my microphone, but alas,
It
that was
happens.
only for the ghosts and Juniper to watch. So,
Beautiful.
oh wait, I forgot to refill my drink. Hold on.
All of this. It's
Oh
still,
wait,
you're
I
still
can't take my headphones
connected.
off because it's inside my shirt.
Oh
Hold on.
my god. Are you chain linked?
Hold on.
What?
So I'll only take a moment.
Oh.
So only hurt a little.
Okay, well, now that she's finally gone, let's talk more about those 90s infomercials. Remember that one where blow pens, where you would have to blow a phallic shaped marker and then you would get like spray paint? That was crazy. I had them in my mouth. I couldn't even do it.
What?
That said a lot. Remember the blow pens from the 90s?
Blow pens? No.
They were like the markers that were you had to, like, basically you were like you had to blow it.
I don't think I had that. Why are you laughing?
Because I know how gross it sounds. Hang on, blow.
Yeah, I'm like,
pens.
I thought you were like trying to punk me or something.
No, I don't know how to describe it without it becoming like X-rated. You put your mouth on this big long thing and you blow, and then stuff sprays out of it. And
you weren't into that for some weird reason?
please
Strange.
Google this so I don't look like a crazy
Okay,
person.
what is it called? I thought blow dart. I'm thinking of a blow dart.
No, but the same concept, except it's like color sprays out of it.
Oh, and it like splatters.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so much worse. You're 100% right. The more you explain it, the worse it sounds.
That's exactly right.
Or like they were markers or pens.
I think
Oh
it was
my
just loose
God.
paint, and they made you I think they just were basically making you blow out of a bottle of paint.
Like an aerosol can, but with your breath.
Yes.
With your humid, rancid breath. That's just really beautiful.
Your
Here, I
chicken
made you
nuggets
this.
and milk breath.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
I remember never having the lung capacity for it. I could never do it.
I don't know that I ever actually tried it. I just remember them from the commercials.
And then the lady who was really into the sponges on a stick, and she would dip it in the paint.
She's so nutty. What a nut. She was like, I'm so quirky. And I was like, oh, God forbid you get your hands on any of my furniture.
She was a good time.
You're going to decoupage me out of my out of house and home.
House and home. Did we ever figure out who the urban legend is today? No?
Yeah, I think I said it right.
Mm-hmm. You said actually all 5 times you said it.
I think you definitely said that I got it right.
Yeah, that's true. But just in case anyone else missed it, I'm going to say it in a different way.
Okay, what is it again?
I can't keep a straight face with you. Her name is Huggin Molly.
Huggin Molly, right?
Mm-hmm. And can you guess what she likes to do?
That's a crazy thing. I was close with salmon, I will argue.
Yeah, more than
No, that was your shopping list, but
more than others.
Huggin Molly, I don't love that. And you know what's so interesting? My story's about someone named Molly today.
Did she hug?
She did.
Oh, well, maybe this is the prequel or the sequel. I don't know. Huggin Molly is a very interesting urban legend because it's kind of like the Bunny Man in Virginia. It's like very specific to a certain area.
I like hyper local.
Yeah. So this is in Henry County, Alabama. It's in a town called Abbeville.
Okay.
And they think over like 100 years old, this lore. Fun fact, Abbeville, Alabama is the childhood home of Rosa Parks. That's about as fun as it gets over there, it seems, besides Huggin Molly.
Yeah, right. Wow, what a strange Wikipedia page they must have.
Which means Rosa Parks probably knew who Huggin Molly was. Like,
I suppose if the timelines add up.
That was her local legend.
Knew about the legend. I thought you meant knew her personally. I was like, I guess. Not necessarily. I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, knew of her. So Huggin Molly is a cautionary tale to kids. We love a cautionary tale.
What else is new?
About a 7-foot tall ghostly woman. They described her as big as a bale of cotton and as broad as a door. What an insult.
What in the actual fuck? No wonder she's haunting everyone.
Yeah, she's probably like, I'm not that big.
Yeah, bro. This broad's as broad as a door.
Well, she didn't. I wanted to know exactly what the size of a cotton bale is because I was like, I don't even understand that frame of reference.
Yeah, that feels like an outdated measurement for us. Yeah.
Well, according to Google, a cotton bale is only 4.5 feet tall, which already goes against the fact that she's 7 feet tall. So not
Okay.
accurate.
Okay.
Then it says she would be 2 feet wide and 3 feet thick. Damn. 3 feet thick and as broad as a door.
Hell yeah.
That's a big girl. I like that.
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay, so she is often seen in a long flowing black skirt or dress or cloak, something flowy. And she's also always wearing a black wide brimmed hat.
My God, this woman likes to take up her space, and you know what? Good on you, Molly.
I like how they never
wear that
said
big hat.
she was as wide as her own fucking hat or something.
Right.
I feel like the hat
Right.
is to prove to people that she's actually not that wide.
Well, maybe that's like how cats have their whiskers to sense how
yeah.
far they can go in. Like, maybe that's what her hat is. It's like, do I fit in this doorway, or is this a narrow doorway?
That's genius.
know.
That's actually so smart. I
Hmm.
like to think that every now and then she tilts it in certain directions just to do something crazy with her
Oh,
fashion.
to do a little different. Yeah, spice it up for sure.
Some versions have her with glowing red eyes.
Oh God.
Others didn't mention her eyes at all. Maybe she didn't have eyes. I don't know.
That's worse.
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, that's way worse that they don't have eyes
Excellent
versus
point.
red glowing. Yeah.
She's said to walk the streets at night. Perfect. Looking for children who haven't come home yet.
Oh, for God's sake.
Because I guess how long ago did street lamps become a thing?
Like, I mean, they were like lamp lighters, but I think that was
Mm.
only in certain towns, so I don't know.
Because she's supposed to be like the cautionary tale about like coming home when the lights come
Before
on.
dark.
Before dark.
Yeah.
And if it's 100 years old, I wonder like what dark meant back then. Like were there lights?
Yeah, I guess it also really depends on the neighborhood. Like, I feel like out in the country, you wouldn't have
Mm.
as many lights as you would in,
Yeah,
city.
you're right. I think in Abbeville, Alabama, maybe it was just like
The metropolis of Abbeville.
when the sun is gone, it's be inside.
I mean, and to be clear, I don't know. I really don't, but that's my guess. So,
I took a look. She's a small town.
it's a small town.
Maybe
Got
that's
it.
why this woman looks so damn
She's a big fish in a small town. Yeah.
That's exactly
There's
right.
a small pond.
So she said to walk the holy shit, excuse me, that came out of nowhere.
Oh my God, that shook me physically. I felt that. That was so weird.
It came out of my ribs. Did you feel it? Good.
Literally, I did.
She said to walk down the streets, look for children once it's dark, and if they are not home yet, she's going to quickly move up behind them, sneak around, get over to them, and she's going to chase them down if they see her. And if she gets you, she's going to hug you.
Oh no.
And in my mind, I was like, great. Of all of the urban legends, of all the cryptids I could run into, please God, make it someone who hugs me and I don't
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, she's got some sort of banshee-like scream. And so while she's
Ooh.
hugging you, she's also screaming in your ears.
Cool.
So that's certainly disarming.
That is very alarming. If a 7-foot tall woman in a large hat grabbed me from behind in the dark and started screaming into my ear. Yeah.
And also, I don't know the degree of a hug. Like, is this a bear hug?
Is this like a vice grip?
Is it a good hug? Or is it like one of those fucking awful hugs? Like,
It's like a chokehold. Is it like your auntie who's coming in like to like give you your cheeks a squeeze, or is it
Yeah.
like I'm gonna put you in a chokehold, or I don't know.
I have one friend. I love him so much.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Worst hugger of my life. Worst hugger.
Really?
And every time I'm like, why are you hugging me like we don't know each other and you have a gun to your head? Why are you,
Who is it?
his name is
Oh, it's a bad hugger.
I don't know what
He's such a charmer.
he's very charming. He's wonderful in every other way. But he doesn't
He does the air hug.
envelop you. He like does like the robot arms, like the
pat pat.
and I don't know if
yeah.
maybe he just isn't comfortable with hugs. But we've been friends for like 30 years. Like,
Well, Blaise does that.
hug me, you know?
Well, not with me, but Blaise does that with people, and I feel like, but not with his friends, though, I guess. But he definitely does the like, I don't like to touch people thing.
I will say he's gotten better over the years, but in high school, when we were dating, by the way,
Okay, well, that might be the start of all of these problems.
Should have been
intimacy problems.
should have been a
with you.
clear indicator he was not into me.
Yeah. The air hug is definitely one.
It was like it was just like a weird like his arms moved like a robot. Like he was just like tap tap.
Like pat pat.
And
Yeah.
and I was like, "Are you okay?" Cuz I feel stupid
Beep
for
boop.
hugging you like I love you.
Right. Now you look like the freak.
Now I look like I like you too much, you know what I'm saying? And I'm
Mhm.
gay. So like back up, boyfriend. Um
Mhm.
anyway, I'm wondering if she's got like a hug or
No way.
if she's got like like
Because
you
for little
said.
kids. Because a little kid could just slip right out of there.
That's true.
If she's doing like a kind of air hug,
Mhm. Mhm.
that feels less effective than like a little vice grip.
Uh yeah. I wonder but how tight? Cuz here's what my next
Oh yeah, what
line.
happens next?
Well, that's kind of it. That's why I was like, that's it. She hugs you and screams, and then you go home. Like, how did she let
Yes.
go? That has to be really like an awkward conversation afterwards. She's like, anyway, never
So
mind.
she's like, I'm done screaming now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, so some of the theories are that she squeezes you only so tight to check your plumpness, as if like she's a Hansel and Gretel witch.
Oh no.
But then, no matter what, she's never eaten anybody.
How do you know? She's 7 feet tall. She's a growing lady.
That's a great point. I actually don't know. So, another version is that she'll squeeze you and scream in your ears until you die.
That's a kid's version.
I like at that point it's like, do you die from like insanity or starvation, or is she cracking your ribs because she's hugging you so
Right,
hard?
or are you just dying a supernatural death? Like who knows?
Yeah, or is she like, is her skin poison and you die immediately? I don't know.
Right.
Um,
Will they ever find your body?
I guess the answer is no, because nobody's ever been found.
Exactly. Wow.
That's also because nobody's ever gone missing. But
Well,
so the main version though is that she just basically screams at you until you go home. So she's just like a mom on the streets being like, get out of here, go home.
except she's a little too touchy-feely. Like she's not good at boundaries and
Like-
with other people's family members and children.
Like
Yeah.
super in your face about it. Yeah.
Got it.
So some parents often use this as, like I said, a cautionary tale of like, don't stay out too late or Huggin Molly will get you. And there was this local named Jimmy, and he was quoted when asked about Huggin Molly saying, anyone who grew up in this town grew up knowing the legend of Huggin Molly, and you believed it too. He even said that like his own friends' parents were like all had a story about either someone or like he remembers his friend's dad saying like, oh yeah, one time she snuck up behind me and I'm one of her victims, and I don't know.
Yeah, you only need to hear one or two of those stories as a kid to be like, got it. I'm fucking terrified.
Yeah, 100%. So for generations, people have claimed to see her. There's this one guy named Mac from the 1920s. He's like still one of the origin stories of her, I guess, where he was doing a night delivery for his boss. I think he worked at a grocery store, and he was walking down the street doing this delivery, and he sent someone behind him. Interestingly, this is a grown-ass person who has a job, not like a child. So it sounds like Huggin Molly goes after anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, not her usual MO, but sure.
Yeah. And he saw a figure moving around him. And so he was like, I'm gonna walk a little faster. And the thing started walking. Like, it always kept his pace. So if he slowed down, it's slow down. Eventually he just sprints, gets to the door, slams it behind him, and he looks behind him and no one was ever there. So that could have just been paranoia, babe. But
oh my god, but think about it. You slam the door, you're like, phew, and then you turn around, she's
actually,
you know,
that would have been
horror movie.
so much worse. Another time,
I'm here, darling, for your hug. Give Aunt Molly a hug.
you know what? For someone who's going to give a hug that big, where's the weird, wet, a little too close to your lips kiss? You know?
Maybe that's all part of it.
Maybe, you know, everyone just, they don't even mention that. That's for
I
you
was
to
gonna
find
say they
out.
don't even want to talk about that part.
Another time, a woman saw her son coming home, and she literally saw, like, I guess, essentially the shadow of, like, a Grim Reaper or someone right behind him.
Bye.
And was like, run, get here. And he ran inside just in time before the thing got to him.
So that's creepy because that reminds me of like running up the stairs from the basement,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like you're almost home and you have to like sprint. I mean, that's scary. And she's chasing you. Yeah, that's like a very primal fear, I feel.
100%. And especially like 100 years ago, if you're walking around in a small town with no lights. And also,
Yeah.
let's take into the fact that 100 years ago, if you're marginalized at all,
Right.
and you're in parts of Alabama after the sun goes down,
Right. There's a reason people want you home, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that could be people of color, that could be women. I mean, whatever it is, you had a reason to be fucking scared of thinking something's after you.
For sure, for sure.
So there is a theory that that's one of the origins to Hugging Molly, as like she was a warning of like,
Yeah.
survive, you gotta stay, you gotta go home. So anyway, these sightings of her led to actually some copycats out in the world.
Oh no, you don't want to hear that.
And there was this one guy in Louisiana. Can you hear the plane going over me?
No.
Okay.
I thought you were looking at someone 7 feet tall and I was like, it's happening.
No, that's Juniper's job.
Yeah, I was gonna say you look just like him.
It is weird that you were saying that earlier, because I was like, oh, that sounds like Huggin Molly. Just a big, tall lady
Eee, good
with a
point.
flowing dress that you saw.
That's true.
Maybe your psychic abilities actually are working, Christine. Maybe you're not seeing a ghost. You're just predicting my stories.
What if I'm just literally channeling your grocery list and your upcoming what a useless fucking talent.
That's exactly.
No offense.
No, that sounds kind of cool. I'm just in your psyche. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Maybe I'm in yours, frankly, the way that I keep saying things like salmon, but I don't know.
we are weirdly mind melded often.
It's unpleasant. Yeah.
Okay, so there were some copycats. There was one guy in New Orleans who was like now dressing up as Huggin Molly and
Mm-mm.
running around at night to try to hug women.
No.
Men always have to ruin everything.
I thought you were gonna say children, and I was like, bad. And then you said women, and I said, also bad.
I mean, maybe
Men, also bad. Anyone, also bad.
still trying to like encroach on someone's private space. Yeah.
Big time bad, yeah.
It was happening so much that he became known as the Woman in Black, because they were dressing up as a woman in black.
Jeez.
And the local newspaper in this town had to write up a column about him, hoping that he would see it. And it said, this is a quote, "Some unprincipled person is parading the streets of Headland at all hours of the night dressed as a woman in black. It is frightening the women and children and causing our large number of dogs to be kicking up a racket at most any time of the night. I have been requested to notify the person or thing that it will be shot on sight by a certain husband and father whose wife and children were frightened out of their wits the other night." Oh my god. Like
Or thing. I like how it's like, we don't even know if you're a person, but you better read this article.
it's like person or
Entity?
Woman in
That's what Blaise
black.
would say. Yeah.
yeah, entity. Either way, some men have volunteered to shoot you on sight.
Jesus Christ. And they have not only volunteered, they have guaranteed it.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah. Which, just goes to show you, don't hang out in the dark waiting to grab a woman or
Don't
children.
lurk. Yeah, don't lurk around and grab unsuspecting people. I know that that's something you've always wanted to think about as something socially acceptable, but now it's time that we give you the hot take that it's not.
I do like the idea of like putting it in a public forum, like, hey, other people have volunteered to like beat your ass if you keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
And also the dogs are getting so loud. It's like, wait.
actually, as the editor, I'm just gonna add this in real quick. I am so annoyed by these dogs.
Yeah, it's actually so annoying also. Like, I know you're actually targeting women and stuff, but like, can you just keep it down? I have a newspaper. I have to get up so fucking early.
Note to the editor, I'm actually a victim in this from the dogs.
Yeah, I'm a victim too.
But yeah, so there were people hearing about this and continually doing stuff about it. So
That's great. That's just fucking great.
as for the origin of the name Hugging Molly, they don't know really where they got the name Molly, but the best guess is that there's a term apparently for if you like fell into a train track and an oncoming train is nearby.
What?
And it's called hugging the Molly, and that term means hugging the rails to try to not get hit.
Oh shit, that thing that they always did in like cartoons where you'd like
Yeah.
lay flat.
Yeah.
God.
So they
That's called hugging the Molly. I had no idea.
neither. Apparently that was like an old term for that. So
Oh my gosh.
that's the closest hugging Molly reference we know of.
Yeah.
So that's what we're guessing on, is that I guess you're close to death and you're pressed up against something.
And it's that like last minute like incoming
Yeah.
freight train or lady chasing you. But the other thing that I thought with Huggin Molly, isn't Molly the name that was given to a lot of immigrants who moved here and started work as in the servant class back then.
Oh,
And
I
a
didn't know that.
lot of people were just named Molly. I'm pretty sure that was like a pretty common
You know what?
trope.
You know what's so funny? Both of my great grandmas who immigrated here are both named Molly.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure that's like a common thing,
Interesting.
if I'm not mistaken.
And I can't find any more information on them, so maybe their name is not Molly.
I think that's part of it is like eh, let me see. I just want to make sure I'm saying this right.
I had no idea about that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I remember reading that in oh my gosh, like some I don't know. I'll look into it later. Hopefully I'm right, but I feel like it was one of those nicknames that was given to people as just kind of like a filler name, you know, when they
Gotcha.
moved here.
Gotcha. But no, I had no idea. That's super interesting. Maybe that's it. Hugging random woman name.
Like yeah, like Joe, you know.
Yeah, totally. Well, so as for who she might be, the main theory I've heard is that people think maybe she's the ghost of a grieving mother who's just looking to
Oh, geez,
hug local children.
I mean, that's like La Llorona got that written all over it.
Yeah. So she's just like crying and wants to hug a kid. I mean, it's just
I
miserable.
mean, that is scary as a kid. If it's like a mom looking for her child might think that is like La Llorona, like traumatizing.
Yeah. Or like she's just so sad that any child that comes nearby, she just wants to hug a child because she doesn't have
Ooh,
hers.
oh, I see. Yeah, yikes.
Either way, it's very sad. And to then say, oh, and she's as broad as a fucking door. It's like, okay, she like really is having a bad day. Like maybe
Like really, come on. Leave her. Look at her hat. Let's talk about that.
yeah. The other theory is that she was actually a victim of a murder and
Oh.
nobody heard her screams at the time. So now she's running up to people and screaming in hopes that they will either help as a residual energy or for acknowledgement for what happened.
Ooh, okay, interesting. So it could be residual or she's like still having unfinished business,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
Mm.
The last theory, which is the most likely, is that Molly was never a ghost or a woman, but a professor from a nearby college who hated his students going out at night. And so
Oh
he
my
would
God.
dress up as this woman in
Come
black
on.
to scare all the kids back into their dorms. Now that's a rumor that I don't think it's ever been confirmed, but it's
Okay.
it's heavily discussed in the Huggin Molly world. Like it's like a very likely case. Like it's like they even have like the school name written down and everything. It's like
Oh, wow.
a school of agriculture, and there was this well-known curmudgeon-y professor who hated all the noise outside when students would go out on Friday nights, and
But loved to wear women's clothing,
what
and he
does that
found the
tell you?
perfect use for it.
I'm telling you, he had it in his closet and he just knew exactly where to wear
He
it.
felt fabulous, but also pissed off.
But also pissed off. He just wanted to watch his stories, and you're too damn loud.
Yeah, God. Come to class not hungover for once.
It really started to eat at him, I guess. So,
I guess.
anyway, that's the main likely rumor, is that it's just like a random guy who wants to scare young people in the woods, which sounds ridiculous, but also how many men are out there that do like scaring people, So,
Right. Also, like somebody literally did that in New Orleans as a copy. So
yeah.
it's like, I mean, maybe it was somebody doing it, a real person to begin with. Yeah, I guess that tracks.
Well, the last reported sighting, I guess, was in 2010 at a local event in town. Molly was seen during a cemetery tour lurking behind the headstones.
Oh,
And they actually, because of what there was like an event going on, some people are like, oh, that's not real. That was clearly someone dressed up as her for a
Oh my
cemetery
God.
tour. So it's in the air. A lot of people have different opinions on if that is legit or not.
That's creepy, though. Like to see like a 7-foot figure in a hat behind. Yuck.
Even if it was a person dressed up as her, imagine if like nobody as part of the event actually knew about that, and there's just a woman dressed up in a wide brim hat staring at
And she's
everyone in
like,
the
why is
cemetery.
everyone looking at me?
Ugh.
She's like, I just came for the hors d'oeuvres.
There is one source that says Huggin Molly has now become such a big part of the town's lore that Abbeville, Alabama now hosts an annual Huggin Molly Day, but I didn't see anything about that anywhere else except that one source. But
Hmm.
that would be fun. According to this one source, people in town dress up like her and I guess hug each other. I don't fucking know.
They chase the children around town.
Chase the children. They have a big scream pit. Um, we can make it like ice cream.
I was
Hello,
gonna
ice
say.
cream.
Yeah, this is starting to actually form into something, I think.
You and I could head the party planning committee on a Huggin Molly day for sure.
I'm saying, I think that, like, I mean, the hugging part, I think we need to create a few boundaries, but the rest, I feel that we could make it work.
You could do like a green light, yellow light, red light wristband of like, yes, you can hug me. I'm just here to watch.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, that's easy. That got handled very quickly, didn't it?
What the fuck? That was like he's part of this whole thing.
Boom. The local I told you about forever ago, Jimmy, who like his friend's dad told him about one of the instances. Jimmy still lives in town and he opened a 50s themed soda fountain restaurant called Huggin Molly's.
That's cool. I mean, it has a perfect name for that.
And yet, that menu, just like last time, my friend, I am not very impressed.
I'm telling you, like, get it together.
Also, apparently, there's a bunch of like original movie posters all throughout the restaurant. Okay, like someone just cracked one open at Huggin Molly's.
I'm saying that half my Angry Orchard got poured into my lap.
That's what I'm worried my back would sound like if Huggin Molly's got me. Like just, you know.
Maybe that's why she goes after children. They're more limber, you know.
They're stretchy.
We're just gonna like.
They're more stretchy. So okay, the walls of this restaurant apparently have a whole bunch of movie posters put up. And fun fact, they are originals. They're not like recently printed. But there's also, I guess he collects a bunch of old movie props, and one of them is the gun from Old Yeller. Like, what is going on in this? So it's a 1950s soda fountain. It's named after a hugging cryptid, and there's like the gun that killed Old Yeller in there.
Yeah,
and the menu doesn't sound that great.
It sort of feels like he's just confronting all of his childhood demons at once. You know, like you were scared of Huggin Molly because of your friend's dad. You were like traumatized by Old Yeller, who wasn't. It feels like you're kind of like bringing everything under one roof to be like, now I can control my own fear. You know, not to be like too armchair psychiatrist about it, but
did you ever actually watch Old Yeller?
I don't think I ever watched it. I mean, I read Where the Red Fern Grows and all that nonsense. So I think by the time I knew what Old Yeller was, I was like, get that away from me right now. I want nothing to do with that.
We had two versions of Old Yeller during our era, which was Shiloh.
They love to do this shit to us in the 90s.
Shiloh and My Dog Skip. Did you ever watch either of those?
Skip.
That was
I remember Shiloh.
My Dog Skip was very similar. It was Frankie Muniz and like a little beagle.
Yep.
To this day, first of all, Shiloh is what I want everyone to know this about me. During 9/11, they decided to distract the children at my school by playing Shiloh. I just want you to know that.
Oh my God! Do you know what they played at my school?
What? My Dog Skip?
The live news coverage of 9/11. They were like, "Here's another building." I'm like, "We're 10. What the fuck?"
I think they put Shiloh on so we would be able to justify in our heads why everyone else was crying. It's like, oh, if the teachers are crying, it's because the dog died.
We just are sad. I mean,
yeah. Anyway,
yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Anyway,
to link one trauma with another, you know.
But My Dog Skip was arguably worse, and I actually every time I like have a moment where I think about like a horrible thing that could happen to Hank, and like my like overprotective parent kicks in. I equate it to the feeling. The first time I ever had that feeling was when I watched My Dog Skip, and bad guys do bad things to a dog. It's a children's movie.
Yeah, no. And see, it's like, why did they think this was appropriate for children? And I've never seen this movie, so I'm not talking about the movie, but the book, The Art of Racing in the Rain.
Ripped you up?
I literally saw, I mean, and I read it as an adult, but it's about the dog stuff. Nope, thank you. I will skip it. Skip.
In third grade, we were, for some reason, I think our teacher had ADHD and she had a hyperfixation on the Iditarod, and so now we have to learn about the Iditarod.
Seems to happen, though.
If you're a teacher with ADHD, can you confirm that your hyperfixation just become what the kids have to learn?
I guess, because we had a teacher who was obsessed with NASCAR, and her name was Mrs. Spivey, and she was our math teacher, and we had to learn math through watching NASCAR all the time, and it was like really horrible. It was 5th grade.
It's like, how many laps can they do? 1, 2, 3.
So in 5th grade, we were literally watching NASCAR. We'd have to pick a car number, and that was like our number. I mean, she and her husband would like go to all the races, and I'm like, she just wanted to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the same year that 9/11 happened. So I was watching NASCAR. I was watching
day
live
for
9/11
numbers.
footage. You were watching Shiloh. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What number was your car? 49?
No, I think it was probably whatever was left over. I was not a very bold child. I was very like, leave me out of the NASCAR thing, you know.
Interesting.
I don't recall.
Well, I don't know how we got here, but
Dogs.
don't watch Shiloh or Old Yeller or My Dog
the
Skip.
gun.
Oh, the
gun.
Iditarod too. I had to read a
Oh, right.
Sorry. We had to come up with a dog. We were the dog. We had to name ourselves as a dog, and then we all raced.
Oh, that's way better than NASCAR.
But we had to read a book about the Iditarod that was apparently meant for children. If someone knows what book I'm talking about,
Do you remember that book? Yeah,
tell
I
me
read
the
that too.
title. Where like this one dog, they just want this dog to win the Iditarod, and it's like his last race, and then right before he gets to the finish line, his heart literally explodes and he dies.
Yes. Yep. That is. I read that too. Is it Akiak or whatever?
No.
Not that one. I'm trying to remember because I remember we had to read a weird amount of Iditarod themed books also.
What was going on? Was it 2000?
Was it Gary Paulson? Was it Winter Dance?
No, I don't remember.
No,
I don't remember.
Know. Balto?
No, not Balto. I have seen Balto, like the actual dog, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Where?
He's taxidermied in like Kansas City or some shit.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
It's not looking good, I'll tell you that. Time to put him away.
I don't remember which one, but I do remember the heart exploding because I remember going, even I know as a child that this is like really inappropriate.
Too far. Anyway, where were we? Oh, I just wanted to say that the menu, it's not very extensive, but it's a long, normal size menu. And the only option.
No, this is it. It is Akiak.
This
is her last chance. Let me text you. See if it's familiar, the title or the cover.
No.
Oh, no?
There's just, or maybe like it's, you know how all books have like 5 different covers?
Oh, true. Because it is talking about her heart.
I don't
know.
Maybe there were multiple. I don't know. I really don't remember. All I remember is reading that. And I don't even, I don't really enjoy reading. And then I had to read that book, and then the dog dies before even finishing the finish line.
It's sort of like I feel like some teachers were trying to make us hate to read, you know?
It
like,
works.
It felt almost intentional.
I read that and I went, well, this is horseshit. And I went, I'm not reading any fucking more. Okay.
Is it called Stone Fox?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to stop. Someone's going to know it.
I have a Zoom with some of my friends from the 3rd grade.
With your therapist. You
No.
just ask her.
But I have friends. I'll ask them and I'll get back to you on what book it was. They'll know.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to say the last thing. Obviously, I'm going to mention the menu of the Huggin Molly's restaurant. And the only option.
Oh my God.
Girl, what? Did you find it?
I found a BuzzFeed article called "You Were Probably Forced to Read a Book About a Dog Dying in Grade School and Will Never Know Why." And then oh my God. Let's see. Troubling 4th grade curriculum. I love dogs. I was excited to read it. Okay,
What
they
was the
talk about
name?
Old Yeller, where the red friend grows. Stone Fox.
Maybe it was Stone Fox. I don't know.
Searchlight's heart explodes and she dies right before reaching the finish line.
I don't know why I don't remember the name of this book at all. Maybe it is Stone
probably
Fox.
because it fucking traumatized you. It says it was 4th grade curriculum.
And I read it in 3rd.
Wow,
Just saying. Anyway, the menu has Molly's fingers plate. It's a chicken finger plate. Molly's
That's
fingers.
lunacy. That's ridiculous.
It doesn't have anything to do with hugging.
It doesn't make sense.
It's
Like
Molly's fingers.
that's annoying.
And then they had 2 desserts called the Golly Molly and Molly's blonde sister, which I'm guessing is a blondie.
Lol.
Everything else.
Molly's blonde sister. We didn't come up with a name for her.
Yeah, Huggin anything. Yeah. And also Huggin Molly is featured in the video game South of Midnight, and there's an indie found footage type of movie called Huggin Molly that came out last year, and you can watch it on
that's
YouTube.
kind of fun. That feels like it would be scary as a found footage type of movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like the chasing to like you're trying to get away. Yeah, that feels like it could really work.
That's Huggin Molly.
Ooh, okay. I don't know that I've ever heard of something like that. So that is new to me. I'm going to look for my notes real quick because I closed them because I felt like last night when I was just doing other stuff, they were opened for today. And I thought every time I see the tab, I just start to get sad. So I'm going to close it.
Fair enough. Christine, I gotta be honest. One of my most embarrassing secrets from college was that I
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me turn the volume up so we can all hear.
I didn't know what an overdraft fee was. And
I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh.
so I just kept allowing it to happen, and
It kept working, and then you didn't know. I mean, I don't blame you, and we don't get very, very great financial education in this country, you know?
no, and nowadays I know what an overdraft fee is, and I go, oh my, so sorry. But anyway, no, money has not always been my forte. Let's put it that way.
That is why we're so thankful to have Chime as a sponsor today. Chime understands that every dollar counts. That's why when you set up direct deposit through Chime, you get access to fee-free features like free overdraft coverage past M and getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. I know a lot of people could use that. So learn more at chime.com/drink. We really appreciate the brand. They have helped a lot of people get their stuff in order. It's something Em and I both could have really used back in our college days.
Past me would be hip hip hooraying right now. Work on your financial goals through Chime today. Open an account in 2 minutes at chime.com/drink. That's chime.com/drink.
Chime feels like progress.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs. Bank ranking and number of ATMs according to U.S. News and World Report 2023. Chime checking account required.
I know this feels impossible, but it turns out shopping and planning for groceries can be simple and stress-free. I know, you don't believe me, but it's true because what happens is Hungry Root shows up. They fill your cart with like a curated list of stuff for your week. And it's like everything. I'm talking like seriously curated. Like Leona is a picky eater and she gets special lunchtime meals and dinners. And then, you know, I'm pescatarian, whatever. And they just build this beautiful grocery cart for you. And then it just comes straight to your door.
I mean, whether you're gluten-free, dairy-free, high protein, focused on gut health or whatever else, Hungry Root helps you eat well. And after a quick quiz, you know we love a quiz, their smart cart, well, you know I love a rhyme too, technology recommends groceries and supplements tailored to your needs, like having truly a personal shopper, but food.
And it learns from what you order, what you like, what you don't like. It's super cool. They also reduce food waste in this way, which is awesome. You avoid those impulse grocery buys that end up just getting tossed. And their best price program offers great value on over 100 popular products. And with our offer, you'll even get a free item like a premium protein, veggie, or sweet treat in every box for life.
You know I love a sweet treat. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life.
Go to hungryroot.com/drink and use code DRINK. That's hungryroot.com/drink, code DRINK to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
hungryroot.com/drink, code DRINK.
All right. I was just, fun fact, peeing. And I was sitting there and I just glanced into Blaise's office to see if the window was open and it wasn't. And I was like, phew. So I sat down to pee. And all of a sudden I heard this scraping sound. And I look over and Moonshine's 2 paws are underneath the door and they're just scratching. And he fucking pulls the door open with his creepy little paws. So sometimes I'm like, maybe Moonshine's just at the heart of all of it. I don't know. But he opens it, bursts his way in. The door slams because it does that if you don't stop it. So he just fucking bursts in, slams the door. I flush the toilet. He jumps up and he sticks his paw in the toilet. I'm like, are you out of your mind? What are you doing?
I will say, Simply Safe, this is not an ad for them, but with our Simply Safe, they have window and door sensors. Like they have like a window sensor specifically. So if you think the window's always opening, you could see, you will hear it beep throughout the house if it ever opens.
That's true.
And then that way you can see if Moonshine's the one like pressing into it with his claws or something.
That's such a good point because we also have those sensors and we do not have them all the way on the 3rd floor because we thought, why on earth would we need them? And here we are. Mine opened and Juniper, that was the wind, but mine, and the lock was kind of messed up, but it was like one of those tiny attic windows. And so it kept swinging open I mean, I've told the story, but I found Juniper on the roof. I closed it, and then Juniper was like, "Rah!" And I look, and he's on the fucking 3rd floor roof. I mean, talk about these cats. So, part of me is like, maybe it's the fucking cats. But then when they're all 3 in the room, I'm like, uh-oh, there's no one else to blame.
No.
So
I'm very glad I don't have cats because I think I would immediately think that my belief in in ghosts would heighten the second I got cats.
no, it really does. And well, it's twofold. Because on the one hand, it's like, yeah, you're like, oh God, they're like scaring me. But then on the other hand, it's so easy to blame them for anything and everything that you sort of just get jaded and you're like, it's a cat.
I see.
Like if you grew up with cats your whole life, any sort of noise, it's like certainly probably the fucking cat. Like knocking something over, no matter how loud it is. It could be the cat Juniper running down the stairs and clomping around. It could be Moonshine like shoving my orchid off the dresser. Like, I don't know, so it's like you can kind of blame them, which makes it easier. But yeah, you're right. That does add an element of like chaos that
Horrifying.
cannot always be explained. Okay, I have a story for you today. This is the story of Jason Corbett. And it is a doozy. I will say I didn't know about it until I heard about it in this instance and requested it because I was like, I can't believe you never heard the story. It felt like maybe I just missed it. But I'm curious to hear if you recognize anything from it. So, Molly Martens met her husband Jason Corbett in 2008 in what friends described as a whirlwind fairy tale romance. Interestingly, Molly had grown up in... Did you talk about Tennessee? No, you talked about Alabama. Ignore me. Molly grew up in Tennessee, and Jason was born and raised in Limerick, Ireland.
Cool. You know what? Ireland is the best place to have a town called Limerick.
I mean, I think that's why they're called Limericks.
What?
Like, named after the town?
Oh, I didn't put that together. I was just thinking like, oh, a town named Limerick. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a very Irish.
Oh, yeah. Because like an Irish limerick is like, I once met a man from Peru.
I did not put those things together,
Who
Christine.
dreamt he was eating his shoe.
Sometimes I feel
he
like...
awoke with a fright in the middle of the night to find that his dream had come true.
First of all, stunning. Second
Thank
of
you.
all, I feel like my college dean should take my graduate, my degree away sometimes.
Hold on, let me call them.
Because I feel so stupid when you say something like that, and then I go, oh, I'm the last person on earth to know that.
I'm the one who says things like the jig is up. I don't even know which one's correct.
Me either
So
anymore.
it's like,
You like
I did ruin that for I did ruin that for everyone. I do apologize.
You ruined me.
But don't worry, there are plenty of things, that I am just flying high in my blissful ignorance on. So don't worry.
Never in a million years Irish Limerick would come out of Limerick, Ireland. Duh. Anyway.
Well, I mean, again, I'm the one who makes up limericks for fun in my head, so I think it's probably a different context.
Did you just make that up? The one you just said?
No.
Okay.
That's a famous one.
I was like,
I think
girl.
I actually even said it incorrectly because it's like he's eating his pillow. Okay, or maybe he's eating a shoe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay,
I literally can't help you at all. But
Limerick, Ireland's pretty kick-ass.
Okay.
I feel like it is the most Irish-sounding place I've ever heard. Also, and that's where he had been born and raised. So their paths, kind of random. Tennessee, Limerick, Ireland. How did they meet? Well, let me tell you. Molly had dropped out of school. She had recently suffered a miscarriage, and she was in a very tumultuous, toxic relationship. And as part of this, she needed an out, an escape, and a fresh start. So, meanwhile, across the ocean in Limerick, Jason's wife had just died tragically and very suddenly, leaving him devastated and alone to parent 2 young children who were his whole world. So he's suddenly overnight becomes a single dad in his early 30s,
Oof.
like really sudden. Jason was looking for support raising the 2 kids because he worked full-time as the plant manager at an international packaging company. So he posted on a nannying site, and when Molly saw the post, she eagerly moved which is interesting. She moved to Ireland, and I'm pretty sure Molly is an Irish name. So it's like interesting that would come from Ireland to the US as a name. And then anyway. So she saw this post. She really felt drawn to it because she read, the 2 young kids had just lost their mother tragically, and she felt just very drawn to this. And she needed a fresh start. So she eagerly worked as an au pair for Jason and the family. It seemed like a really good fit. They all got along right away. Jason was from a working class family in Ireland. Meanwhile, Molly is from Tennessee, and she was raised by two parents, the father of which was an FBI agent. Okay. So she had a very distinctly different life upbringing than he did. But they did have a common interest, which was a love for children. And pretty immediately, Molly took these two kids under her wing as her own kids, essentially. Jason was very close with his own family. He had 7 siblings, and he and his sister Tracy, they were best friends. And Tracy is a character throughout this whole story.
Okay.
So Molly grew up caring for her younger brothers, and she loved to look after kids so much and babysit so much that one of her aunts said she was going to make her a shirt that just said everybody's favorite cousin because she just loved always being around the littler kids. So when Molly felt like everything was falling apart, she had that miscarriage, she was in a tumultuous relationship, she dropped out of school, she just felt like, okay, I found this family, the kids lost their mom, I feel like this would be, the perfect fit. And it really did feel like a fairy tale. Molly quickly connected with the children. Their names were Jack and Sarah. Jack was older, and Sarah was the younger sister. Sarah had only been a newborn. She was 12 weeks old when her mother had died suddenly.
Oh my God.
So she never knew her consciously, really.
Yeah.
And Molly essentially became the only mother figure she'd ever known. And pretty quickly, Sarah just started calling her mom because this woman lived with them and was their mother figure. I'm going to send you some pictures throughout because I just feel like it adds to the story. I mean, so here is, and I don't know the legality of which ones we can post. I'm going to send links to Megan and Jack and see what works. But just so Em has an idea, this is Molly and the 2 kids.
Cutie pies. And
Yeah,
also
on
Molly
Christmas.
and Sarah look alike.
Isn't that freaky? They look a lot alike, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to I forgot I have one more. And so they kind of like became a family pretty immediately. Like she just kind of like jumped into life with them and like fit, as another parental figure.
Oh, they're all such cutie pies. Oh,
I know. They're really like sweet. The photos are just like absolutely adorable. Jason, the dad, felt drawn to Molly. Of course, he was still kind of reeling from the loss of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But Molly was beautiful, gentle, kind, and of course his children loved her. And so he started to fall for her. And he was a little bit hesitant about this because he has these 2 kids. His greatest fear was that if something happened and they broke up,
the kids would be devastated.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was like, I don't think I can commit to that right now. So he had sent that in an email, and there is evidence of some of these emails. So in an email, he told her that would be his greatest fear. And of course, like in a typical relationship, they could take their time and like choose when to introduce. But as the au pair, like she's already, entrenched with the family. There's a lot of emotional connection already happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was a different situation. Jason had met his first wife, Margaret Fitzpatrick, which is also like the most Irish name. She went by Mags.
Girl.
Mags Fitzpatrick.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. It's
It
like
gets me.
It's like I just discovered Irish names and then had to write a little story or something.
It's like how our manager's named Maggie Houlihan, like the most like Irish. I mean,
And she's
a
a redhead, like couldn't be.
And she's a redhead. I don't think I ever put any of that together, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick. So Mags Fitzpatrick. He had met her through a mutual friend, and they fell in love pretty quickly. They were married in 2003. They were completely in love. They were both very successful in their careers. They had these 2 beautiful kids. And the 2 kids were both of their whole worlds. I'm sending you a picture.
Cool.
This is Jason and Mags, his first wife,
Aww.
who had tragically passed. And I'll tell you what happened because it's pretty fucked up. So one night in 2006, when baby Sarah, like I said, was just 12 weeks old, Mags was up one night feeding the baby, and she was a lifelong asthmatic. And she started having this asthma attack. She started wheezing. She used her inhaler. It didn't help. Jason woke up Mags' sister, Catherine, and they called an ambulance. They were racing against time because Mags just, the harder she fought, the harder it was for her to breathe.
Oh my God.
And terrified, she told her sister, I'm going to die. She just was like, I'm going to die. And Jason got Mags into his car. They met an ambulance that was en route to their home, but Mags died at the hospital at only 31 years old.
Oh my God. What a tragic way to go.
Tragic. I mean, feeding your baby 1 second and then like poof, you know? And now Jason, who's only 30, is alone with a 2-year-old and a 12-week-old. And his wife is gone. You know, it's like, talk about just an utter tragedy. So, of course, deeply traumatizing. It had been really difficult for him to establish any sort of stability for the kids now, you know? And so he was just terrified that, like, if I get my romance involved, you know, then, like, might be dangerous for them. It might be unstable. But Molly was very sure of her feelings. And she said, hey, don't worry. We're not going to break up. Like, I don't see the reason to wait. I don't want to wait for you to commit. And there was this tension sort of where she's like, I want you to be like my person and you better say it now. And he said, you know, classic tale as old as time. Even his sister Tracy did notice the chemistry between them. She said, like, when Molly arrived, he just became like a more happy person like he used to be. Like, he really just felt like she was the right fit for the family. And so over time, they just decided, you know what? Why are we fighting this? We're going to get together. So the couple decided to move to the United States together, where Jason could transfer to another packaging plant. They wanted to start fresh. They got engaged. They bought a house, and they moved to a cul-de-sac in Meadowlands, North Carolina. Now I have a couple pictures here of the kiddos. This is them move, and imagine them with little Irish accents, and then they moved to North Carolina.
I know. I'm sure both parties were like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
What are you saying? Yeah. Kids already don't know like what each other are saying, so it's kind of funny.
I feel like the little boy, you can tell he's got an Irish accent. I don't know what it is about him. There's something Irish about him. I don't know what it is, though.
I agree.
Oh, God, they're such cutie pies.
They really are. So in June 2011, their families and friends traveled to North Carolina for the wedding. This was like the official tie in the knot. Little Jack was the ring bearer, and Sarah was a flower girl, and Jason's family was especially thrilled to see him and his children so happy. Tracy was there too, and she was so happy that, you know, her brother and his kids were finally having a new mother figure that they felt loved them. But while she was at the wedding, she was talking to the maid of honor, who was Molly's best friend. And the maid of honor, Susie, she had been planning this speech, like her maid of honor speech. And so when Tracy, Jason's brother, started talking to her about it, she kind of did a little bit of a double take. Susie was like talking about the speech she was going to give, and she was gushing about what a fairy tale this romance was and how perfect it was that life brought Molly and Jason together. She said, wow, I can't believe that this worked out. Molly being the childhood friend of Jason's first wife, Mags, and the godmother to his children. And Tracy was like, what? Molly being the childhood friend of Jason's first wife and the godmother to Jack and Sarah. That's why she moved to Ireland. Nuh-uh. She moved to Ireland as their au pair. She found them online.
Oh, shit.
You remember?
No. Sorry. I promise I'm invested. What are you talking about?
So Molly had moved to Ireland to be the au pair for this family.
Okay.
But now the maid of honor is saying, I can't believe it. Like, after being childhood friends with his first wife for all these years and being their godmother, now she's finally their parent. And Tracy's like,
for some reason,
they literally just met.
In my mind, I just thought all of them were true. It just like,
oh, I see.
And like happened to then also just move to go be the au pair. I don't know.
Oh, no. So she's like, wow, like, I can't believe how life brings people together. You know, she's Mags's best childhood friend. And Tracy, who knew Mags very well, was like, they have never met. Like, in what universe? What are you talking about? even more so, Tracy was actually the godmother of the children and was like, hang on,
like,
what do you mean?
Hang on a second.
You're saying Mags, the first wife, made Molly the godmother? Like, they didn't even know each other, you know? And
Wow.
so it was just like this bizarre moment where Tracy's like, well, that's really weird.
Are you anyone's
And-
godparent or like
No.
guardian in the event of something?
No.
Didn't know.
Are you?
Allison and I, to my knowledge, is her brother's kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I had to do that paperwork recently for Leona. It's a very weird, very sobering feeling when it's like, now what if you're both dead?
Is it-
And what if you're both dead and Leona's dead? And I'm like, oh.
Is it Renee for you guys?
No, it's my parents.
Oh.
Well, my parents, Blaise's parents. And then, you know, if it's
It
if
trickles
that's
down.
not feasible, I would assume my brother.
Oh yeah. But
yeah.
I literally, why did I forget about Sandy for a second? Sorry.
I mean, I'm not going to burden Renee with a child. I will burden my brother with one, though.
I just assumed
the
as the
need.
namesake, I guess.
Yeah, that does make sense. Sorry.
Anyway, carry on.
Okay, sorry. I just like knocked the fluffy part of my microphone off. All right, so I have a picture from the wedding, just to give you another idea of like this whole fairy tale thing that she's. So now we're getting the idea here that she's kind of spinning different stories to different people. And I tell you this because the maid of honor has this idea that like, oh, they were best friends growing up, and she was their godmother, so she's known them since they were born. And Tracy's like, that is not true. She literally just moved to Ireland and like met them. You know, it's just weird.
So weird.
And so, according to the rest of the group, it wasn't just Molly's maid of honor who believed this story. All the American wedding guests, so everybody from her side, from Molly's side, believed the same story. And so much so, they believed she went over there to fulfill her duty as a godmother, not for any other reason than that. And then she just happened to like fall in love with Jason, and it's just a fairy tale whirlwind, you know?
Wow.
And so just an odd story. So Tracy goes, Susie, I don't think you have the right story. Actually, Molly came to Ireland and met Jason as an au pair. And Susie's like, wait, what? You know, they're both like, that's not right.
Imagine the chatter at the reception hall, and everyone's like, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know?
During the cocktail hour when it's like the bride and groom are taking pictures somewhere and everyone's
It's like
wait a
already
minute.
done. Like, had we discussed
It's
this
too
20
late,
minutes
yeah.
ago? Oh my God.
Yeah, oops, should we have said something?
Oh my God.
So the wedding went on, you know, of course. Jason's family and friends flew home, feeling kind of weird, but like, okay. And the Corbetts seemed happy. They settled into their new lives. Jack and Sarah adjusted very quickly. Sarah was very social, like her father, and so she made a lot of friends. She was talkative, funny. She made a lot of friends. Jack made friends playing sports. They loved North Carolina. They were just so happy. They said they drove up to the house for the first time as little kids and were like, whoa, because it was just this like big, you know, what you could get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this big, like kind of grandiose McMansion type house. And they were just like, they felt like it was magical, you know? So Molly became a doting and extremely active mother to Jack and Sarah. She volunteered at their school. She enrolled them in countless hobbies. She organized play dates with new friends. The family was very sociable, and they thrived there for 7 whole years. On August 1st, 2015, everything fell apart.
Wait. Have they discussed the groom and the wife, Jason and?
Nope.
They are aware though that there's like some weirdness, right? Or did not a single
I
friend
don't think
told
so.
them?
I don't think anyone's concerned enough.
That's wild because I would have had 20 family members going, what's
I do wonder
going on
though
here?
if it's like the international aspect where the other side of the family, like there's just no contact. I mean, there's contact, right? But like email maybe, but not like you're not all like drinking together and like chatting with the other party. It's sort of like each family seems to have like a version in their mind of what's going on.
Okay.
And there's just no overlap.
Got it.
Is the vibe I get. And they seemed really happy, right? Like the kids were thriving, you know. So the family in Ireland was like, okay, well, you know, the kids are doing great. They seem happy. So what's it to us?
Sure.
You know, we're not going to meddle. So here is, how do I say this? Here's the version of events from one. Speaking of two stories, speaking of two different stories, here is one version of events, okay? August 1st, 2015, Molly's parents decide to take a trip to see her.
Mhm.
Tom and Sharon, those are their names, and Tom is the retired FBI agent. Tom and Sharon were retired. They had no plans that weekend, and so they drove all the way from Tennessee to North Carolina, about a 4-hour drive, and they just wanted to spend the weekend with their daughter. Jason sat outside on a chair on the driveway drinking a beer, socializing with the neighbors. The kids were playing in the cul-de-sac, like running around in the hose. Molly's parents arrived that evening, and the family ordered pizza. It was a pleasant but uneventful Saturday night at home, and later Sharon and Tom went down to the basement, presumably a finished basement.
Mhm.
I'm just picturing the most, United States, cul-de-sac home I can think of.
Sure, me too.
Went down to the basement and went to sleep. Now, according to Molly's father, Tom, the FBI agent, in the middle of the night, early morning on August 2nd, he and his wife awoke to the sound of their daughter screaming.
Oh, shit. Okay.
The dogs were barking, and there was a loud racket coming from upstairs. Tom rushed upstairs to Molly's side. On the way, he grabbed Jack's Little League baseball bat. He ran to the primary bedroom, and inside, he said he saw Jason strangling his daughter, Molly.
His wife, Molly.
Sorry, Tom saw Jason strangling his own daughter. You're right. You're correct.
Okay.
Tom saw Jason strangling his wife, which is
Oh,
also
who
his
is
daughter.
his daughter, Molly?
Sorry, who
Okay.
is his own. Yeah, I don't know how to say that in.
No, you're good.
You see, English is hard. Okay.
Say it in a limerick since you're so good at
Right, I
those.
know. I'm like, there should be an easier way for me to say this, but basically, Tom.
There once was a wife who's a daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, it's all very complicated. Not really, but the way I'm making it sound is complicated.
No, you're good.
Essentially, Tom went to rescue his daughter, see what was going on, saw her being strangled by her husband.
Sure.
Tom demanded Jason let her go. According to Tom, Jason put Molly in a headlock and began to drag her toward the bathroom, saying,
What the
I will kill her.
What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
And they were up to this point like a seemingly lovely, happy family to the outside world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? And then immediately I'm questioning like that asthma attack from his previous wife.
Interesting. Okay. Yes, hold that thought. This all comes out. Yep.
What the hell?
Tom tried to move behind Jason to find a vantage point, but Jason was cornered and choking Molly. According to Tom, he was desperate, so he swung the Little League bat. Jason let go of Molly, caught the bat, and being much bigger than Tom, was now on the offensive. So
Oh,
it was,
fuck. So now both of them are
Molly-
in trouble.
yeah. So Molly had that exact same thought and thought to herself, well, if Jason kills my dad, he's going to then kill me. And so she made a desperate split-second decision to grab a brick that was sitting on the nightstand, and we'll get to that, and hit Jason in the head. I mean,
Good.
to me, I was like, well, I don't know. I keep a weird shit at my nightstand.
I didn't even
so.
question it. I just went, sure.
I know.
I mean, also, if your dad's in town, I just imagine there's some sort of like side project going
Just, like,
on. You know,
There's like cinder blocks. I know. So when they were like, why would there be that? I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Like people use bricks for door stops. I don't know. But we do get an explanation for people who are like, no, that's weird, which it is pretty weird. Especially considering the circumstances. It's not necessarily weird unless you use it as a murder weapon. Then suddenly it becomes a little weirder that was on your nightstand and it just so happened to be there. But we'll get to it. So, she grabs a brick, hits him in the head. Tom, at this point, says he regains control of the baseball bat, hits Jason too, and once he's incapacitated, Tom calls 911. He tells the dispatch that Jason is bleeding badly, and he says, I may have killed him.
good. Well, sorry, but like, what the hell was going on? And that was self-defense, babe. Good for you.
When paramedics arrived, Molly was attempting CPR on Jason. And when they got Jason into the ambulance, his wounds were too severe to even treat.
Oof.
So he had been killed on site. At the police station, Molly told detectives that Jason had a history of violent and explosive behavior, and she said this time he was drunk when he attacked her. In another room, Tom, her dad, corroborated the same story, telling detectives that Jason was wild. It wasn't just, quote, sloppy drunk. He was far too intoxicated and got violent.
Okay.
A detective told Molly that Jason didn't survive his injuries, and they asked if she knew how to contact his family. She started to cry and said she was afraid to contact the Corbett's.
Oh.
She said she never legally adopted Sarah and Jack, and she thought she might lose custody.
No, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And they really love her. And she seems so far, to my knowledge, she seems very wonderful.
So that is where we're at here. You're exactly in the right spot.
Okay.
Molly sobbed while the detective told her, yes, it is a very real possibility because you are not their legal parent, that they will be
Oh.
taken into custody by their next of kin or, the godparents. She told detectives she had endured years of abuse and that she had repeatedly made attempts to adopt her children, but that Jason wouldn't allow it. She said he knew that she would never leave him and risk losing the children if she had no legal rights as a parent, and so he used that situation to control her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like 7 or 8 years into their marriage now, right? So the kids are like in middle school,
7
high
years.
school?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're actually 8 and 10.
Oh, right, because she met them when they were babies. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, they lived there for 7. I know, it's confusing. They were 8 and 10 when he was killed. So,
Okay.
however that timeline works out. But they lived there for several years with her as their primary mother
And
figure.
I'll stop asking questions.
No, you can ask any questions.
Well,
I mean,
I feel like you're going to answer it anyway. I was going to say, well, doesn't half the family think that she is the godmother anyway?
mm-hmm,
Okay.
exactly. So, but because she's not legally, like, they have legal
Mhm.
guardians that are in Ireland. So it's like, legally, she doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. She said she often worried she would never live to see the day that she finally divorced Jason and was maybe able to see the kid, be the kid's parent in a safer environment, but she never imagined that Jason would end up dead first instead of her.
Mhm.
She and Tom would, of course, be protected in Jason's killing by self-defense laws. As you so astutely mentioned, especially in North Carolina, you have a right, obviously, to fight back in self-defense. But that didn't really help Molly because if she was going to lose the children anyway, she was like, well, I'm still devastated,
Mhm.
She couldn't believe that she might lose everything after a desperate battle for her life. But Molly would soon have bigger problems when detectives started asking some questions she didn't quite have answers to.
Uh-oh.
The day after Jason died, his sister Tracy, also his best friend, and her husband David rushed to the U.S. because she was his best friend, his sister, and the godmother to these 2 little kiddos that she loves dearly. So she and David rushed to the U.S. to find out what happened. Tracy was told that Jason and Molly had an argument. Molly pushed him, and Jason fell, hit his head, and died. So she's calling Molly. Molly's not answering the phone. Tracy and David stop at Jason's lawyer's office in Ireland on the way to America to pick up his will, and that names them as Jack and Sarah's legal guardians in the event of his death.
Okay.
But when they arrive, Molly refuses to let them near the children. And awkward. They get to the funeral home, and the director of the funeral home tells Tracy that there are express instructions not to allow anyone to see Jason's body.
Oh, okay. Right, because it's so messed up, right?
No, just express instructions from the family, from the family,
Okay.
from the wife to not let anyone in to see the body. And so Tracy had to take legal action to be able to see the body, and she did. She was able to see her brother, and she said she was absolutely horrified by his injuries. She later said, "It's horrendous to see what one human being can inflict on another." Tracy had a different take on Jason's avoidance of allowing Molly to adopt Sarah and Jack. She said, "No way in hell was it a tactic to manipulate Molly. There were email records that I've seen that showed Jason had indeed looked into the adoption process. And when he contacted a lawyer to ask what might happen to the children if he and Molly divorced, the lawyer said Molly might get full custody as the mom.
Oh, wow.
If she legally adopts these kids and is their mother and you two split,
Yeah.
she can very easily get full custody."
Mhm.
And he was like, hell no. I don't want that. So he said, I'm not comfortable with that. And Jason learned that a judge could decide, that his children would go to Molly instead of him. And he thought, if we divorce or if I die or something happens to me, I want them to be able to go back to Ireland, and that was his wish. A member of Molly Martens' family, who, like you said, had believed this whole other version of events, claimed that Jason applied for permanent residency on using Molly as I don't know, like the anchor to get here,
Sure.
To stay in the U.S. indefinitely. And he could have done that through Molly and her family because, of course, they're U.S. citizens. But it turns out he had not at all ever applied for permanent residency. He did not have a plan to stay forever, as far as anyone knew. And even when he did apply for a visa so that they could move to the U.S., he did it through his job because he didn't want it to be tied to another person, like a partner or whatever. And so Jason's intentions seemed to work out. Like he had hoped, the kids were able to go to Ireland. Tracy and David applied for custody, and on August 18th, the judge ruled in their favor. Sarah and Jack had no U.S. citizenship or permanent residency status. Molly, like I said, was not their legal mother. Jason had not changed his will to make Molly their guardian. And the judge said, the parents of Sarah and Jack, I'm almost certain, would want their children to be raised in the land of their origin with the culture, the religion, the customs, and their extended family on both sides, prepared to nurture them in a manner that will be in the child's best interest. These children will be returning to Ireland.
Wow.
Bang the gavel. Now, this was very traumatic, as you can imagine.
I can't imagine being like 8 and now both my parents are gone from me in some capacity. I don't have Molly around and I'm going to Ireland to be with family I don't really know.
Exactly. 100%. Police removed Jack and Sarah from their home in a traumatic scene. Sarah was sobbing, asking where they were going, like they were holding on to Molly. I mean, this is like absolutely traumatizing, speaking of what's going on in the world today. Molly met with them before they left the country and told them she would see them soon. But before long, Molly and her father were charged with second-degree murder.
What?
Jason's wounds were terrible. He had been struck at least 12 times in the head with the baseball bat, far more than would have been necessary to incapacitate him. His skull had been completely shattered. There was blood spatter, excessive blood spatter, in the bedroom, the hallway, and the bathroom. Dents along the walls from the baseball bat. It appeared as though Jason had been pursued from one room to another over a period of time and been attacked repeatedly.
Shit, so this was not the one-hit brick situation anymore.
Right.
Okay. Oh my god, wow.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is that Tom and Molly had not a single scratch on them. So that's weird. Molly, well, that's not true. Molly did have a small red mark on her neck, and her defense team claimed that this was from someone's fingernail digging into her neck as they held her throat. But that was the only sort of evidence, and it hasn't been proven one way or another. The prosecution on the case also found it odd that Molly's mother reportedly slept through the entire ordeal, as did the kids. She said that after she woke up to her daughter's screams, Tom said, I'm going to go upstairs to investigate, and she went back to sleep and wasn't woken up again until a police officer woke her up. And although Molly had told detectives, do you remember that Jason was not just sloppy drunk, but like off his rocker violent drunk? And Tom said it was unmistakably, he was extremely drunk. He had been drinking beer all day in the driveway, The toxicology report showed that Jason was not drunk at all when he died.
Oh, shit.
After having beers with his friends earlier that evening, the alcohol content in his blood was only 0.02 when he died, and the legal driving limit in North Carolina is 0.08. So he had like a quarter of even the legal driving limit in his system.
Shit.
Just like a little bit. The toxicology report also found trazodone in his system, a sedative medication often used to treat sleep issues. Now, where did that come from? Well, a nurse practitioner who worked at an urgent care nearby testified that Molly was seen for foot pain and was prescribed trazodone to help her sleep a couple days before Jason's death. Now, only low levels of trazodone were detected, but like nobody knows how it got into his system.
Right. So instead of him being belligerently drunk, he's now maybe being slipped a sedative, which is the exact opposite of everything we've heard.
Right.
Okay.
Precisely. Sarah, the daughter, would later claim that Molly actually made Jack and her take pills before bed that night so that they would sleep through the incident. And this has not been proven, but this is what Sarah claims happened, the daughter. Because it was odd to police as well that nobody woke up,
Mhm.
during this, what was like obviously an extremely loud and violent altercation. So, remember Tom's story that he and Sharon didn't have anything better to do, so they decided to drive to North Carolina and hang out with the family for a couple days? Well, detectives soon discovered that they actually did have dinner plans that night with a friend back in Tennessee. And when they talked to the friend, they were like, yeah, it was so weird. They called last minute and said they had to cancel and that they were leaving town.
Hmm.
So they just booked it, canceled their plans, and booked it out of town last minute.
Interesting.
So now they're questioning Molly and Tom's story, right? So the question wasn't whether Molly or Tom killed Jason, it was whether it was actually self-defense or not. The team handling the case considered money at first as a motive because of Jason's life insurance policy, which was $600,000, and Molly would inherit that along with the house. Now, Jason's family believed that Jason was actually preparing to divorce Molly, and that was kind of the trigger that caused her to be so enraged. And finding out he wanted to move back to Ireland with the kids is something Molly would not have been able to accept.
Right.
So then the case focus became whether Molly was telling the truth about the nature of their relationship. And this is sort of where it started to get more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Molly did her best to establish Jason's history of abuse. Tom, her dad, said that he knew Jason was abusing Molly, but not the extent of the violence until he saw it himself. Molly produced recording devices that she had hidden throughout the house to capture Jason's abusive behavior toward her. Apparently, a family friend was a divorce attorney or family lawyer and advised her to make note of the abuse of any sort of things that happen so that when, push comes to shove, you have like the evidence to back up your claims. So she hid these devices around the house, and she wanted not only evidence of the abuse, but also evidence of her parenting so that eventually she could put in her bid to adopt the kids formally.
Sure.
She captured recordings of Jason shouting, slamming a kitchen chair. In one of the clips, the same clip, Sarah's crying, and Molly and Jack said, "You're scaring Sarah." In one recording, Jason said he knew Molly was trying to separate him from his own children, and he told her he would do the same to her. I mean, this is a very toxic, listening to this, I'll be honest, was extremely triggering. Hearing this man screaming at a woman and kids around, it's just all very difficult to hear. And while it did show some verbal abuse, arguably, the prosecutor's team questioned whether this is a full picture because she shared 2 clips and she had been, recording for months. And it's sort of well, how do we know what else is on these tapes if she's only picking and choosing what to play? And
Right.
I hate to even say that because it really does sound like I'm sort of covering for an abuser, and I'm really not trying to.
No.
I'm just saying this was clearly a very toxic, bad situation that
there's
nobody from the outside knew.
it would be very interesting and informative to hear everything.
To hear the context of all of it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to say. It's sort of yeah, that's really shitty and horrible to listen to, and perhaps traumatizing for the kids to hear their dad screaming and stuff. But listen, it's not necessarily a cause to murder someone
Right.
out of the blue. It's sort of now everyone's weighing
Who's worse
self-defense,
or
not self-defense. Yeah. Who's in the wrong, etc. So literally my next line is the investigation hinged on Molly's word versus Jason's character. So it's who's telling the truth, right? The issue for Molly was that the investigation unfortunately uncovered a history of bizarre lies throughout Molly's life. So kind of her whole story starts to unravel here. Molly's college roommate claimed that Molly had kept a framed photo of her little sister in the house and said that her little sister had died of cancer. And so she had this photo up. According to investigators, the roommate later visited Molly's family home and thought it was strange that there were no photos of her sister there.
Oh.
When she got back to their place, she looked at Molly's photo more closely and noticed that in the corner it said 5 by 7.
Oh, was fake. Oh my god. Oh, that's so lazy.
It was the fucking photo that came with the frame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Wow.
So now she's been asked about this. Okay. Elle magazine asked Molly, like, what is the deal with this photo your roommate says happened? Says that you claimed was your sister. She says there was no frame photo. This is Molly's account. But there were magazine and photo collages, and it was possible she'd said that one of them was her sister who died.
Okay. Possible
Uh,
or not possible.
The report also quoted an email Molly had once sent to Jason when she was really angry, and it said, "Other than my sister's death, nothing has ever devastated me so much." Quick side note, Molly never had a sister, let alone one who died.
That's silly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So the same reporter questioned Molly about other lies. Friends and neighbors, for example, said that Molly had told people she gave birth to Sarah, and because they looked so similar,
What's going on?
people believed her.
They do look
Molly
very similar.
Molly allegedly described her pregnancy to people excitedly, but Molly said Molly told this reporter later, she'd been discussing the pregnancy she lost, not actually giving birth. However, well, let me give her quote first. She told the reporter, "I'm sure there's a possibility that I led people to believe that I was directly related to my children or one of my children, but that is an interpretation." Mm-hmm. However, apparently she had actually gone so far as to give a lengthy description of how difficult her labor had been to a local Bible study group.
Interesting.
So,
I mean,
and that was specifically childbirth to Sarah, to be clear.
because had we not heard the wedding situation where like there was already, if it weren't for the wedding years ago where there was already kind of signs of this, then I would
Mhm.
be excusing her storytelling now as like there must have been some sort of context we're missing on, like she's in an abusive relationship, and
Mm.
I would have found a way to be like, oh, this is like a recent thing, so like
Right,
what's
right.
going on. But the fact that 7 years
They
ago,
established this like pattern.
yeah, it's like
For all the way from college,
yeah,
like through. And so, yeah, exactly. So they're uncovering this pattern. And like, to be clear, a pattern of lying does not make you a murderer and does not mean you were not abused. So I'm not saying that, but it's some context of, oh, this isn't the first time she's made like major statements about her life
Right.
that were completely confabulated. So this pregnancy thing, I mean, that I find that pretty troubling. Like,
Mhm.
Mags was literally feeding the baby when she died of a tragic asthma attack, and now you're like, oh, I gave birth, and like it was such
Yeah.
a long childbirth. Like, what the fuck? It's just like, yo, overstepping.
Mhm.
In another call with the reporter, she also said she could have said that Sarah was biologically hers. It's just unclear, like, if she said it or not. She's basically saying, well, it could have come across that way.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a history of strange lies doesn't mean you're lying about, surviving abuse. And she maintained that this was the truth. Now, in Ireland, Jack and Sarah, these poor kids, they're struggling to adjust. Jack misses his friends in the US. He missed Molly. I mean, she had become their mother, right?
Yeah.
After all. And Sarah, his younger sister, was a lot more sociable, so she made friends pretty easily. But even she struggled because she was really hesitant about trusting a new family.
Well, yeah,
she'd
she's-
lost her birth mother. Now she'd lost her father and her other mother.
Yeah.
And now she's in a totally new home across the ocean.
And I can't imagine the mixed feelings of like, if they're hearing stuff about what their stepmom did, it's like, well, she's the only parent I have, so I still want comfort from like the person who
that's
caused
the
all this stuff.
conflict.
Yeah.
It's exactly it. And that's what they basically end up wrestling with for their whole lives. Yeah. So Tracy and David, they were trained foster parents, so they knew right away, put these kids in counseling. And thank God, that was a godsend. So these kids go into counseling, they start to, process and heal from all of this. And the children were allowed no contact with Molly.
Mm-hmm.
But Molly was desperate. When you take something from somebody who's that, like, they'll do anything. Like,
Yeah.
we hear these stories of these crimes and stuff. she'll do anything. And so she can't handle this separation. And she tries everything she can to get a hold of these kids.
And she's now just probably scaring them. Like,
oh yeah.
like,
And putting them in like a terrible position. And
it's just one of those, like, if she was trying to kill the husband so then she could go live a happy life with the kids or something, like, it still doesn't work out because now you've just horrified the kids that you want to go make a safe, peaceful life with. Like, and now.
yeah, it's that safe, peaceful life part that wasn't really part of the agenda.
Wasn't
I think.
clicking. Yeah.
No. So she went on social media. She begged anybody who was affiliated with the kids to pass her love and messages on to Jack and Sarah. Sarah had a friend in school, like in elementary school or middle school, that fucking Molly reached out to this child to say, can you talk to Molly for me? Like, she reached out to this child to be like, tell Molly I love her. And Sarah was like, people were avoiding us at school. They were like, you know, of course, like they have this weird story. They're all over the news. I mean, Molly just won't let it rest. Reporters were hounding the house and the children's families. Sarah and Jack both remember Molly trying to pay a plane to fly a banner over the school to say how much
Ew.
she loved. Yes, literally. That's nutty. Tracy and David, the parents, were pissed. They just want these kids to have some safety and normalcy and like feel loved and feel safe. And the stability is just not happening here. Jack feels like he wants his life back in the US. He's like completely lost. He wants Molly back even though he's conflicted. And so in January of 2016, Jack secretly calls Molly and leaves a voicemail.
Oh, fuck.
He says, "Hi, Mom, this is Jack. This cannot go public. I miss you and I love you. Keep fighting really hard. I want to know how you are. I love you so much. Call me pretty, please."
And,
The voicemail was immediately released to the media
of course.
and plastered everywhere.
Of course. And also, like, a little kid saying this can't go out to the public, like, that just shows you that, like, he's been warned of, like
Like, he
everyone's
knows.
watching. Yeah.
And he's scared. Exactly. And then this. There it is, out in the public. So Jack was devastated. He felt completely betrayed by Molly. And that's when he started to really like process maybe what had actually happened.
Mhm.
He started to read into the details and he gained a sort of a new perspective and had to kind of come to grip with the fact that Molly and Tom might not have killed his father in self-defense.
Mhm.
What's worse is that he felt like he had helped them get away with the murder because in 2015, 3 days after Jason was killed, Jack and Sarah were interviewed at a child advocacy center. And when interviewed, Jack said, "My aunt and uncle from my dad's side are trying to take me away from my mom."
Ugh. Yeah, I could see the guilt forming. It's not his fault, but, you know, I could see feeling guilty.
Yeah. Jack told the child interview specialist that Sarah had woken Molly and Jason up because she had a nightmare, and Jason was angry about being woken up, so he attacked Molly. Jack said, quote, "Mom let out a scream, and my grandpa came up and started to hit him with a bat, and then my dad grabbed hold of the bat and hit my grandpa with the bat." When the specialist asked Jack how he knew all of this, he said that Molly had told him.
Oh, first of all, why would you tell your kid that?
To get them to lie.
I know, but I mean, like, if you were innocent, like,
if that were real, right, exactly. Both children said that Jason was often angry for no apparent reason and that he hit Molly. Jack said, "He would physically and verbally hurt my mom," and investigators were like, kids don't talk that way. They don't say he would physically and verbally
right,
hurt my mom. Like, the way that he phrased a lot of the sentences
obviously
put
coached.
up alarm bells.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like coached. When repeatedly questioned about where the children got their information about their parents' relationship, they both said Molly was the source of all the information they had about their parents' relationship. The children also said that Molly's mom, their grandma, was so worried about their dad's behavior that she wrote her phone number on the bottom of a Russian nesting doll so that the kids could call her if they needed help.
Oh.
Now, months later in Ireland, Jack called or told his adoptive parents to call the prosecutor's office, investigators, and say, "I lied. It was all, I want to recant
Wow.
what I said."
And how old is he?
Like 10.
Oh.
I know. It's
You can tell already he's, like, having to grow up way too fast.
Talk about being right, exactly. Talk about being thrown into like crisis after crisis that no person, let alone child, should have to go through. So he tells David and Tracy that he wants to recant, and he says Molly begged him to lie for her. He said Molly told him if he didn't lie in the interview at the Child Advocacy Center, he would never see her again.
Ooh.
This is how she controlled them, right? She said, I'm the only parent you have left, you know, if you want to stay here
Well,
with
yeah, that's going to work.
with me and your friends and your family and your house, then you better say XYZ. And they did. So in a video conference call to the prosecutor's office, Jack told them that Molly had made up stories of abuse and that she was crying when she told him that he had to tell these stories too if he wanted to stay with her. He said he didn't know what was happening and that he agreed to lie for her because he was 10 years old. With Jack's statement, the prosecution was able to convince the judge to deem the video recordings of the interviews inadmissible. So these videos of Jack and Sarah saying, he hit my mom, they took all of that out because it was no longer admissible. The children's statements about Jason's abuse could not be used by the defense, and that was definitely a big hit to their case. As time went on, little Sarah, who was 8, she's also unraveling her memories and relationship with Molly. And it's not good.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So she remembers a time that she asked, for example, this is just one example, to join the t-ball team because her dad was the coach and she was like, oh, I wanted to be on his team and like it would be easy because he's already going there. And apparently Molly freaked the fuck out. She was driving the car and she was like, why don't you love me? Why would you rather spend time with your dad than me?
What the
Like
hell?
got really possessive, said, why don't you love me? Was crying. And Sarah was confused, but she said she just felt terrible for hurting Molly and was like, I don't want to hurt her feelings. You know, I mean, this just emotional manipulation. Sarah would later tell many more stories in her victim impact statement, which I will get to. But in any case, it was super hard for Jack and Sarah to like reconcile like their only remaining mother figure at this point with like the person who took away their father. You know, I mean, it's just how could you handle that at 8 years
Yeah,
old?
you can't.
Yeah. Jack said that when they said goodbye to Molly, he was terrified because, quote, he was a 10-year-old kid and this was the only person who'd been there every single day. It's like all he'd ever known of a family, you know?
Yeah.
Like known at least in recent childhood years since he was a little kid. Sarah, recalling the goodbye, said, I'm saying goodbye to someone who had been my mom for as long as I can remember. I mean, since she was a year old.
Yeah.
And she said, I loved Molly. But Jack said that while Sarah was Molly's golden child, even, you know, despite her stories, he was constantly fighting for Molly's love. And this part made me really, really sad. Jason once left on a business trip, for example, and Jack said goodbye and that he loved his dad and he would miss him. As soon as Jason left, Molly chased Jack up to his bedroom, tore all of his clothes out of the dresser, flipped his bed, kicked over his desk. She took pictures of Mags, their biological mom, and removed them from their bedrooms.
Oh my God.
Didn't want her anywhere near kids, didn't want her to even be mentioned around her. Molly hid Jack's photo of Mags that he had in their room. So Jack now is recanting his statement, and he's finally getting the chance to set the record straight. And this, of course, is a huge blow to the defense. Molly's uncle was outraged. He said in an interview that Jack's recantation interview looked rehearsed, as if he had been coached. And Tom, the FBI agent, the dad, said Sarah and Jack appear to be brainwashed.
Okay with this.
Okay, you literally murdered their dad, whatever. Several of the Corbett's neighbors testified that they believed Jason was abusing Molly. One neighbor testified she received a call in the middle of the night from Molly's phone, and she could hear Jason and Molly screaming. And Molly said, please stop, don't do this to us. The neighbor said that when she asked Molly about it later, Molly said, oh, I didn't realize I had called you by accident.
She was already trying to create an alibi, it seems.
She had been putting recording devices. She was telling neighbors, like, how do I make sure I get the kids? I mean, and why wouldn't you believe a woman telling you her husband's abusing her, right? Like, of course, why would you make that up, you know? So despite these testimonies, the jury did not believe there was sufficient evidence proving a history of abuse that would explain the excessive violence the night Jason died, especially if he wasn't drinking, you know, or wasn't drunk. So members of the jury also didn't understand about the brick on the nightstand. They were like, can we figure out why that was there? That was explained away. Jack said that he and Molly had made plans to decorate the brick for the garden, but that it was supposed to rain, so she had brought it inside. But it's like, but you brought a brick to your nightstand the days before, leading up to your husband's murder.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird.
That's
It's
a
just
weird one. That could go either way. But it also sounds like, oh, I just want the weapon available for when I do this.
It's all the timing, right? Like trazodone and a brick on the nightstand, all within a few days of I mean, again, it could just be,
Did you mention already, like, Tom's side of everything?
Yeah, so that original story that he was asleep with his wife downstairs and he heard Molly and he walked in and his daughter was being yeah, that was his version of events.
No. I'm saying, like, did you get to the part where we find out why they came into town? I know, like, they left unexpectedly last minute, but it'd be one thing for her to be like kind of off her rocker and doing this, but like to have your dad come in, like, did she just call him and say he's hitting me?
I think so.
Okay.
I
Because
think
how else do you get an FBI agent on your side to do
right.
that?
I think she just told him, like, hey, I'm being abused by my husband and you need to come. And of course, he drops everything. They come over. Who knows what happened, And he said, I mean, I knew something was wrong. I didn't know how bad it was, So he's trying to protect his daughter. It's just all like.
Also, that's so sad that, like, if he thinks that he's doing this to an innocent man, or to a not so innocent man in his head, defending his daughter, and now he's on the line for maybe going to jail for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And she was just willing to do that to her own father? Like, that's... So
she claims that was the worst part. Like, I don't want my dad to go away for life, but it's...
What do you think was going to happen? You made him into an accomplice.
Yeah. Yeah. At least that's how the story goes. Because she claims, no, this was all just by chance. But it's sort of like, well, doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Doesn't add up. So the jury declared Tom and Molly guilty of second-degree murder, and both were sentenced to 20 to 25 years in prison. Molly cried. She said she wished she had never screamed that night. She said if she died, at least her father would still be free.
Okay.
That annoys me for some reason, because I'm like...
It annoys me too.
Tom was in his 60s at this point, and she's like, I can't believe I ruined his life. However, in Ireland, this was a huge relief to Jack and Sarah, who felt they could finally begin to move on now that their father had some sort of justice, and they had some closure. Sarah said it was the first time in a long time she felt free. Sarah and Jack's cousins embraced them as siblings. This family, like, became this tight-knit unit. It's just really beautiful. Like, they're so close and so bonded, and they call them mom and dad. And, like, I'm just so happy. It could have turned out so much worse. But Tracy and David, like, took them in, and their cousins took them in as siblings. And David even said in an interview that he still remembers the first time Jack called him dad. And it was, like, so profound and, like, life-changing. And the family is just super, super tight-knit. Meanwhile, in the U.S., Molly's legal team is, like, trying to appeal this sentence. They presented to the appeals court with Sarah and Jack's interviews. They say, we want these back into the record. We want this to be admissible evidence that the kids are saying they've seen their dad hit Molly. They also found a medical record from a doctor's visit just weeks before Jason's death. And Jason had gone in to complain of dizziness and feeling faint. And the doctor noted that he had not been taking his thyroid medication regularly and wrote, Jason also has been more stressed and angry lately for no reason. So the defense took this and said, well, he was clearly, like, unusually angry and violent in the days leading to his death, but it feels like a stretch to me.
Also, like, if he wasn't taking his thyroid medication, then he would be more angry than usual. Like, you have, like, your hormonal.
Right, yeah. So, but they're saying, so see, that's why he's doing it. That's why he was so mad that he went off, that's why he was so mad that he tried to kill her, and it was like, well, I don't know that that's a direct correlation, but the defense believed it was. The prosecution, meanwhile, had presented evidence of blood spatter on Tom's boxers, which, blood spatter evidence is kind of like
wishy-washy.
iffy. Yeah. They said the angle of the spatter proved Jason was on the floor while Tom was standing over him, hitting him with the baseball bat. But the blood spatter wasn't actually tested, so they made that inadmissible. The courts also agreed that actually the children's interviews should be included as evidence.
Oh, wow.
And they overturned Tom and Molly's convictions.
Oh.
So now Molly and Tom are released, pending a new trial. And the Corbett's are horrified.
Yeah.
They're like, we've finally moved on and feel safe and at peace. And no longer. Now Jack felt immense guilt because now his statements are being used in the trial to try and bolster, the defense. And he said, I was scared and afraid and I was so young. And Sarah felt the same shame because she had lied. She said, I described someone that was the complete opposite of my dad. So because she had told them to lie, so they said, he's mean, he's angry, he's violent, he hits the Molly. And she's like, none of that was true. We were just told, we had coerced into saying it. She said she lied to stay with Molly because she had already lost everyone else. So in a tearful video that Sarah took of herself at the news of Molly and Tom's release, she said that it was not fair. They were free. She couldn't focus on her life. There was no set trial date, so she felt like she was just in stasis, like she couldn't look toward an end goal.
God.
I'm going to send you a picture from the trial of Molly and her father, Tom. There they are. So in 2023, the Corbetts flew to the U.S. again for the pretrial hearing. And this is the first time Sarah and Jack had seen the Martens in 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So 2023, Sarah walks into the hearing and she says that Molly's family wouldn't even look at her. And she said in that moment, she realized, I am not afraid of these people.
Good for
I'm not
you.
the one who should be afraid. I did nothing wrong. I lied. That's true. But I was 8.
Yeah, and
I
also,
was like, yes.
And also, did you really lie, or were you told what to
right?
say?
It's not even lying.
That's not even
exactly.
lying.
It's like you were just scripted, like it's not right. Exactly. Sarah and Jack held firm they never, ever saw their father hit or hurt Molly in any way. Molly, meanwhile, maintained that Jason abused her throughout their marriage and that she was heartbroken that Sarah and Jack seemed to need to believe otherwise.
Oh, fuck with this. Okay.
That makes me crazy.
Also, how old are they now in 2023?
17 and 19.
Oh my God. They've never gotten to be at peace with this. They have
their entire childhood. I mean, think of Sarah. And can I make another point that I don't think I included in the notes, but that really struck me is that Sarah had to live with the fact that, so the stories go, when she was 12 weeks old, her mother was feeding her and had an asthma attack and died.
Oh my God.
When she's however old, 8, she wakes up in the middle of the night from a nightmare and her dad gets so angry that he kills Molly. So she's always at the center of this as the catalyst. And she's like, do you know how hard it is for people to be like, well, you are the one that started both of these horrific events,
Or
it's like
somehow you're a main character in this when
you
done
triggered
nothing.
this situation. Yeah. And it's like,
I would be so scared to have anyone close to me because I'd be like,
correct.
First
right.
of all, at any moment you might die because that seems to be the MO. But also I can't imagine being close to somebody and then oh, well, last time I was close to somebody, I called them mom and then they killed my dad. So
exactly. And the last time someone was here, they just dropped dead in front of me while I was a baby. Yeah. It's just
oh my God. Or
the connection is so visceral. And the fact that they keep framing it as, oh, this happened because he got so angry in the middle of the night. And
also before any of this happened with her dad and her stepmom, she was still probably, I know it obviously isn't true, but as a child, there's no way it didn't enter her mind that she's the reason her mom's dead.
Of course. I mean, every YA book we've ever read, right? It's a kid with a parent who died who feels this burden of guilt, I mean, especially if it's
the last thing
when
she
you were
did,
a baby.
she was with you and now she's done. There's no way you didn't
and
carry
it keeps getting framed like that. Exactly. And she's a kid. It's that is not a safe thing to put in a kid's head.
No. And why is this trial taking so fucking long? Why wasn't this
why
handled
are there
already?
multiple of them?
Oh my God.
I don't know. Tom said in this new trial, that he had no regrets about his actions and that watching Jason strangling Molly was the worst thing a father could see. The Martens' defense team also began to cast doubt on the circumstances of Mags's death, the first wife. They said they believed Jason strangled her as well and then blamed it on an asthma attack. Tom said that he met Mags's parents. So this is Tom, Molly's dad.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he met Mags's parents when they visited the U.S. to see the grandkids. And he claims that Mags's father, Michael, was, first of all, he called him poorly educated and hard to understand, which,
Ew.
like, go fuck yourself.
Oh.
Second of all, he said he asked what Michael thought of Jason, and Michael said, I think he killed my daughter, as in Mags.
Wow.
Now, when Mags's father heard this, he was fucking livid.
Mm-hmm.
Mags's parents were absolutely outraged because the night Mags died, Catherine, her sister, had witnessed this. Like, she had witnessed Jason doing everything, having like this complete breakdown trying to save her. Mags's mother, Marion, said, until the day I die, how would I ever believe Jason killed my daughter? They had a beautiful relationship, and Michael, her husband, loved Jason. He was our son.
Yeah.
And so, like, the fact that they're still saying, like, or that Tom's saying, oh, he was just this uneducated guy, but he said that he thinks
Sick.
Jason killed his daughter. And they were like, literally never would ever think that nor say it.
Yeah.
Let alone say it.
And so, I mean, I can't imagine also being the sister and now hearing like, oh, everything you saw was wrong too. Like,
Right. Like, you're all covering up for a murderer, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, let us grieve in peace. This isn't even a. And Michael, the father, who's uneducated and hard to understand, he made an official written statement denying having ever told Tom anything like that he thought Jason killed Mags. He, just absolutely furious. Although Tom and Molly maintained their innocence, neither wanted to risk going to trial a second time. So Molly was especially worried about Tom, her dad, spending the rest of his life in prison. So instead of going to trial again, they decided to agree to a plea deal. Molly pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, and no contest means you're accepting the conviction, but you're avoiding a factual admission of guilt. So you're like, I'll take the punishment, but I'm not saying I did it. Meanwhile, Tom pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, saying, yes, I did commit a crime, but like, for, manslaughter, like for a reason, as part of some other, motive. So in November 2023, Jack, now 19, and Sarah, 17, they read their victim impact statements at the sentencing. Both statements, I read both of them. They're devastating, but like really powerful. Sarah's is longer and more detailed, and she definitely has a way with words. I'm gonna read a segment here. It just pictures it paints a very clear picture of kind of. Basically, they use this as the first time they got to tell their side of their childhood. It's like all these people are arguing: was their dad a good guy? Was their mom a good guy? Who was killed who? And she's like, "Let me tell you my side." So it's a little bit long, but I'm gonna read an excerpt here. My name is Sarah. My dad explained to me that my name means princess. He would call me his little princess. He would wrap me in his hugs, read to me, joke with me, and I remember the feeling of being so safe and content. Sitting inside of this courtroom has been a traumatic experience. Listening to adults twist and manipulate the words I said out of fear as an 8-year-old child has been extremely difficult. Your Honor, I would like to give you an example of how our truth is being twisted. When Miss Shannon Grubb, who's just a witness, testified about the park incident where I had no shoes going to school, there was no fight with my dad. My dad had already gone to work well before we got up for school. Molly had beaten Jack again, and that is why I was hysterical. Molly had left Jack at home instead of bringing him to school too. She left in such anger she forgot my shoes. I didn't want Molly to go home on her own as I was afraid of what she would do to Jack if I wasn't there to stand up for him. This is an example of how the true situations of my life have been manipulated. You can take any story the defense have created, and I can tell you the true horror of what actually happened.
Wow.
And I gotta say, these two, Molly and Tom, spin quite a tale. They're really convincing. I don't know, but I'm like, Sarah, I believe Sarah.
I believe Sarah.
Sarah also confirmed the long-held suspicion that Molly had told Jack and her from very early on that their father had killed their mother. Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't even know what work you have to do in therapy to unpack that and
to try and untangle that
and to relearn a new perspective on someone who's no longer here.
Correct.
Boy.
So one of the quotes was, Sarah said, when I was 5 years old, Molly Martens began her mind games. What kind of mother tells a 5-year-old girl that her father killed her birth mom? She continued, when I was 6 years old, Molly would sit in the bath for hours. She hit herself with a hairbrush and had me take pictures. What kind of mother hides recording devices all over the house? When I was 7, Molly told me I was allergic to gluten and dairy, so all I could eat was veg. I'm not allergic to any food groups. Her way of punishment was starvation. She just wouldn't feed us if we did something wrong, like, for example, not swimming fast enough in our heat. She would stop speaking to us or turn to violence. I treasured a framed photograph that my dad got me of him and my birth mom, Mags, on their wedding day. Molly threw it down the stairs and screamed at me that she is dead, I'm your mother, that woman is dead.
Ugh.
I was 7 years old. When my dad came home and saw the broken glass and me trying to clean it up, I told him that I tripped. He finished cleaning it up and gave me a hug. That's just how kind he was. She broke my family down piece by piece and then killed my dad with no remorse. And so that is the statement she gave. There's one more line I want to read, which is in relation to this post that Molly had written in 2015. Remember how I said she was all over social media trying to get their attention?
Mm-hmm.
She had actually shared all these childhood drawings and notes publicly
Ooh.
that the kids had made for her to be like, look how much they love and miss me. And it's super icky.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2015, Molly had posted a message to Jack and Sarah on Facebook that said, we shared our lives and I was the person chosen to be your mom. I was the person you called mom for 8 years. You will always be my children.
Ew.
In Sarah's victim impact statement, she said, I can stand here today and say I do not love Molly and she is not my mother.
That's right, girl.
That's right. Molly and Tom were finally sentenced to 51 to 74 months in prison, including time served. And because they'd already served 44 months in prison, they now only had 7 months left to serve.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So they were released in June of 2024.
Are you first of all, that's sick. Second of all, the amount of time that there were court hearings all the way or court proceedings all the way through 2023. Couldn't you have just, when the kids were still 8 years old, made them go to jail for 7 months and then leave them the fuck alone? So by 10, maybe they could have things processed.
It's like picking the scab over and over and making it.
It feels like
reliving it.
Mentally, the kids were in jail longer than they were physically in jail.
Oh, for sure. And they're having to fly to the United States and testify and make statements and at the end of the day, they get out in a few months.
So
it's
has that woman tried to talk to them since? And she's
not allowed to communicate with them.
Okay.
And I will say all of them, at least most of them that I've mentioned, were interviewed in the Netflix documentary A Deadly American Marriage. And so we had Molly, we had Tom, we had Sarah, we had Jack, we had Tracy, we had all these people coming forward to tell their side of the story, which was really interesting. Sarah especially was very outspoken on this documentary and otherwise. She just felt like she had been too young to self-advocate, back in the day, and now she wants to take the opportunity to really tell her story. And like I said, she has a way with words. She actually wrote a children's book when she was, I think, 13 or 14.
Wow.
I know, about loss.
Oh.
And the book is called, let me find it. She wrote a children's book on grief and loss called Noodle Loses Dad.
Oh my God.
When she was 14 years old. I know. She also wrote a memoir published this past February 2025 called A Time for Truth, My Father Jason and My Search for Justice and Healing.
Wow.
So just really a powerhouse. Jack, for his part, does not really like to speak about this. I think he's just a more introverted, doesn't want to go there, which I can totally respect. He was in the interview or in the documentary, which I've heard is a rare thing. He doesn't usually, he's not as vocal about it as his sister. So what we know of Molly, you were asking, has she gotten in touch? Reportedly, she moved to Tennessee to be near her family. Tom, her dad, returned home to Tennessee as well. Both spoke in the same documentary. They maintain their version of events. And I mean, like I said, they weave a convincing tale because you really do start to feel oh shit, with the recordings of him screaming and stuff. And then it just, at the end, you're like, that doesn't add up though. it's just something's wrong. And then with the kids' testimony, it's like, well, there you have it, you know? I don't know, man. So Jason's remains were returned to Ireland in 2015, where his children were able to attend his funeral with the rest of his family. Here's a picture of the two of them in the documentary, and it's I just send it because it's kind of cool to see them as kids and now as adults, finally being able to
Wow.
share what happened. Jack kind of avoids public attention as far as speaking out. Like I said, here's some photos of them. I think Sarah's process has been much more like writing and speaking. She's a motivational speaker.
Well, she was also, you said, like more of an extrovert, and he was more of an introvert to begin with, right?
Yes,
So,
that's true. I hadn't even put that together. Yeah, she was much more of a sociable person, or social person. So he lives a private life as a singer-songwriter. He
Nice.
studies music. Yeah, and Sarah, like I said, wrote a memoir, a children's book. Both children and Jason's entire family are dedicated to keeping their dad's memory alive. The version that they say is the truth, not the one that Molly has kind of painted all over the media. And that is the story of Jason Corbett's murder or death, depending on whom you ask.
I think we are all in agreement.
I mean,
Maybe not, but I think
I sure am.
you and I are on the same page.
I sure am. It's watching these kids tell their stories and reading the emails also between the two. I'm like, this is messy.
Wow.
I'm not saying he was a perfect guy by any means. You know, I mean, like I said, that screaming audio, I had to like skip it. I was like, this is really upsetting. I didn't skip it. I listened to it, but it was like very distressing. But like,
Didn't deserve to die.
doesn't mean bash your head in the middle of the night for no reason and follow him down the hallway. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it doesn't add up.
No, I can't imagine. That's and also like the stepmom, it's kind of giving a little Munchausen by proxy to me.
It feels very toxic. Like she has these ulterior motives. She's obsessed with these kids.
Well, she needs them
She's
to
lying.
need her so badly.
Yes, exactly. She's lying about like birthing them. She's like,
Yeah, it feels a little Gypsy Rose.
yeah, and right, like keeping them under her thumb. And you know, if the abuse allegations against her are true, then like, yeah, that's some like abusive parental shit.
Yowza. That was and what's Jack Corbett? That's the musician now.
Yeah, he's a musician. I believe also there's a Jack Corbett because I looked him up, and there was another Jack Corbett who does something different.
Okay.
Who's also on the internet. So,
Well, I want to go check out his music. I also want to find that book, the books that she wrote.
yeah, I did add it to my Goodreads, I believe. So if anyone wants to go there and follow it, yeah, I would like to read it as well. I'm curious. So yeah, that's the story, and sorry for bumming everyone out again, but I will say that for our Yappy Hour, I do still have the beautiful weekly horror movie double feature that you created 2 weeks. You're like, what are you talking about?
I totally forgot about this.
It's called Move Over Elvira, and you and I made something. You were the mastermind behind it, the Lunar Lounge.
Oh, I kind of remember that. Something about werewolves.
Stage name was Harry Houdini.
Oh my god! So we're gonna talk about this at the.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this to you because you clearly don't remember, and I'm excited.
All right.
to tell you what your business plan is.
Well, my business plan. Well, if for some reason everybody wants to go hear what my business plan with the Houdinis is. Houdinis.
Don't act like you haven't been dreaming about it every night.
I remember something about a movie theater. We'll all learn about it together in Patreon.
Also, we can now because now these episodes are on Spotify as well, Apple Podcasts. You can kind of access them anywhere. They're just the bonus Yappy Hours, and they're linked to each episode. So if you see that, come check it out.
And
that's
why
we